Yes, yes, yes.
You're so fresh.
I put bare gunshots, as you can see. Jay just took the headset off because I put bare gunshots in your ears. You know what I'm saying? But that's for you. That's for y'all. That's just how much we appreciate y'all for tuning in.
To what? What are they tuning into, Anson?
To that big track meet in Zurich.
Yeah. Diamond League final.
People? Diamond League final, yo. Respect everybody. Joel or Joel? I'm assuming it's Joel.
I say Joel. If he's British, it's definitely Joel. But you
Terwayne sounds like a... What country is that? Oh, that's a gun.
Gunshots.
Yeah, so yeah, respect.
Yeah.
If he's from an island, that's Terwayne. So it's Joel. But if he's from around here, it's Joel. Yeah.
Well,
Joel.
he said I'm first, so there you go.
He's first. So you are first. You won.
We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Respect. Welcome,
Mm-hmm.
Jay Johnson to my right. I'm Anson Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Diamond League Finals was
It was pretty good.
2 days of track and field. Can't be mad at that.
No.
I know you were going to bring this up later, but I had mentioned that multiple finals at one championship.
25.
That's sick.
Today. I know. 25 finals.
And I'm just admit I didn't get to see everything yesterday, but Jade got to see it. And what were your thoughts on the competition yesterday?
Wow, honestly, we've been cussing the presentation and how boring it is. Everyone who's been listening to the podcast, we're like, what is this? It's so boring. We want something different. We want excitement. We want it to be entertaining. And actually, I was pleasantly surprised. It was really good. One of the I think on one of our podcasts, I think it was called "Are You Entertained?" Where we were talking about how it's not entertaining at all.
They've been listening, yo.
I know. Have you noticed?
I gotta be honest, yo. I know they've been listening because there's a lot of things they've been doing where it's been kind of cutting edge. Some things that we're not used to seeing, and one of them was just the presentation was a big thing, right?
Yeah, doing I can never say this word, Lord.
Innovative.
That's the one. You know what?
We say innovative.
Innovative. Yeah. But it was really good. We were talking about the fact that if it's in a nice setting, if it's kind of, if you had a couple of the field events in the centre and you had, some stuff going on, maybe fans around, like watching whatever they wanted to. They didn't quite do that, but I think there was 2,500 fans.
Wow.
They had special built, and it's at the city, the city centre. So they had a purpose-built runway, shot put circle, high jump, and they built this kind of, it looked cool. I don't know how cool it was to run on, but I think it was for the 5,000. They built a purpose-built track, 560, I think 3 meters or 560 something meters track around the city. Traffic lights were blinking red. It's it was just fun. I mean, it was weird. The track was a bit weird though, because it was really steeped bank and then quite long straights.
Right.
And it was funny because it's a 560 odd meter track. listen to the commentary was funny, and watching the athletes trying to navigate pace judgment per lap was funny because obviously they're used to a 400 meter track, and so you hear the commentators going on, "Well, what's this lap? Well," and they're trying to work it out. I was cracking up, but it was kind of funny to hear.
Yeah, you can see what Jay's talking about on the screen right now. The street setup.
Yeah, look how cool that is.
Yeah, that is.
Look how cool that is, and like look, athletes are just around the sides, fans around the sides.
Yeah,
and one of the things I really liked was the fact that, not in the high jump, obviously, but with the long jump and the shot put, I think they were doing it like simultaneously with, so they only had 6 athletes competing in the field events, but they basically did, let's say the long jump, they did round 1 for the women, and then they did round 1 for the men, and then they did round 2 for the women, and they did round 2 for the men. So they were basically a mixed kind of.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it was really good actually.
Yeah.
But I didn't even, I was like, because they kind of split it up. They split it up, so they were showing like all of the women, and I was like, what's going on here? And then it wasn't until later on I caught on what they're actually doing, because I didn't really read up on the format, but it was kind of cool.
For real. So for a field eventer, obviously it was actually complemented to the event.
It's good. I'm like trying to think if it was like the times when I was competing, we had some cool people, obviously Dwight back in the day, fun, exciting athletes competing, and I'm competing with the men. Right. The men are competing with the women. I think that would have been really cool actually.
Yeah. I just saw them running around the buildings and stuff like that for the distance races. I like the concept of immersive fans and contrasting experiences depending on what event you're watching, because there's different seating areas and different event sections is what it looks like, right? And I think that if you're watching a track meet and you're up in the stands, but the long jump or the pole vault's going on across the field, you don't really get the most out of it. But you can, you can watch it on the big screen. But if there was an option to like be on the, if they were seating on the inside or seating
on
like
the
really more
sidelines,
intimate, you know what I'm saying? Street meets tend to have that intimacy, which is kind of cool.
I've never done a street meet, but I've done a long jump only meet, and because the crowd is so close, the vibe is like electric. It is the most fun competition to do.
For real?
Yeah, just long jump only. You get music playing. They give you kind of your tune you can pick. It was good. Those were the days.
Do you remember what song you chose?
I did it a few years.
Was it a Line Upon Your Head top song?
Listen, stop giving up all my
Jay got a few songs where you see her, it's just the waist going all over the place.
Well, it's that Jamaicanness in me. What can I say?
Yeah.
What can I say? No, but I think it was a Busta Rhymes tune still.
Oh, for real?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Remember that tune? Don't make me sing. Woo-ha. How's it?
That used to get you hyped?
Mm-hmm.
Busta Rhymes is a man that get anybody hyped.
Exactly.
Jamaican,
Is he?
Yeah, that guy's Jamaican.
Did not know that.
And it's legit. Like, I heard him speak patois and everything. Like, it's legit.
It's legit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Big up the one named Master Blaster.
Oh, Master Blaster. See, you say Master Blaster, and I say Master Blaster.
Yeah. We got a few.
Momba. Only Elaine Thompson-Hera capable of stopping her. I don't know what's going on. You lot are just getting right in there, boy. Lick shot, like just straight into the action. You just want to talk about the action. You just want to talk about what's going on.
We're gonna get to her, but I gotta say something funny I heard though, because because I was watching Ray's take. I watched Ray's take. Big up the one named Ray.
Yeah.
We should actually. It would have been cool to have him on tonight. Actually.
Oh yeah.
I'm not so hot at him. Anyways, he was talking about Mbama and what she's doing, and people are always asking him, as they ask us as well, just what we think about the whole Mbama situation. And he was like, "Listen, man, y'all know that she's from Namibia, and she doesn't have no access to no real supplements and IVs." And he's like, "Y'all need to shut up. Stop talking. Don't bring her name up. Because once she gets serious and starts doing that stuff, you're gonna make her upset, and she's gonna go and do all that stuff, and she's gonna go run 20-50 on y'all, and then we'll see what y'all say."
Listen, what do you mean she ain't got access to all that stuff? What? Because she lives in Namibia?
Well,
have you been?
No, I haven't. But I think he was making the assumption that we have so much access in Europe and in North America to different stuff that can take to enhance how we perform, and she does
legally.
Legally. Yeah, we
Vitamins
ain't saying she's
and
about
minerals.
To get in the sauce. Yeah, we ain't saying she's gonna get in the sauce, yo. But
I thought you said she's gonna get a massage. I'm like,
no. So he was like, y'all better be quiet with what she has naturally, because if she puts that natural on top of what they got, it's game over. So he's
yeah. This is going to be interesting next year. What World Athletics are going to do with this whole situation? Because there's that other chick. Is it Nian Saba in the long distance?
Yeah.
She
ran
not.
In the 3,000. No, she ran in.
She ran in the 3, the
she
5.
Went from the 8 to the 5.
No, yeah,
no,
and no, dude. She runs the 3, the 5, and the 10, and she's smashing them all in the face. She's not playing around. I saw her. She won. She won yesterday. She just come through, but she just stayed at the back, and then she just come through. They can't roll with this chick.
They're not going to let them run.
You don't think?
No, they're not.
I mean, honestly, it's such a tough situation.
It's very tough.
We and you talk about it all the time. We talk about it. People come up to us, they ask us all the time, but people are so sensitive, you know? But as a woman, personally, I feel like there needs to be protected categories. That's just my opinion. Right. And I want everyone to compete. But, I mean, I don't feel like there's going to be a chance. But then everyone jumps in, and it's just obviously a very controversial subject.
Yeah. Because it's the first thing people assume is that you feel like they just shouldn't be able to compete.
Yeah, but of course they should. True. Of course, people should be able to. But at the same time, there's no chance. This chick's never trained for the longer distance. She's like, you know what? They tell her last minute, you can't train, you can't do those ones anymore. Okay, let me just jump up, and then she's smashing everyone in the face. Today, though, I think who was it that slightly? I was actually going to talk about something else, but it's okay.
Oh, okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. I hear you, because in general, there's some people who get a little too offended when you just want to talk about what's going on with that.
It needs to happen, though. I
think that the conversation is very, very good, because talking about it doesn't necessarily mean there's any hate behind it. It's just sometimes clarity is needed. If you don't have the discussion, there's not going to be any clarity, right? So
yeah. Joel's saying that Nian Saba used to run against Semenya. See, now this is the kind of alibi, because Semenya now was dominating, and then because of all the craziness, she was like the guinea pig, which I don't feel like is fair, but obviously someone has to be the first one, and it's just unfair that someone does have to be the first one. Right. So now that's messed up her whole career. Mm-hmm. She ain't been running because she didn't know, and she tried to move up to 1,500. Right. And so, yeah. But anyway, well, I'm sure we'll see what happens next year, how it all unfolds.
Yeah.
But,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think it looks favorable, though.
And, no. In what way? Like, you don't think they're going to be able to run at all?
Well, this is the thing. You see how all the news came out about how all the tests, the fact that they said that the testing they had done, or the parameters they had put up, wasn't the science based, or that they used wasn't accurate, or whatever, about people having. Mm-hmm. The misconception is that they ruined the tests and were basically saying that testosterone didn't have an advantage. Mm-hmm. But what actually happened is that they were just saying the tests that they used and the science they were using just wasn't very detailed.
Yeah.
And they literally just did a blanket kind of science to say, okay, well, in the 4 and the 8, this is where the advantages are, because we see people in the results. So let's just take them out, because we see the people in the results that are having advantages. You can't compete in those, because that's where the results are, in those. But no one's doing the 2. We don't see any results in the 2. We don't see any results in anything else. So people move down to the 2. And did I say the 2 and the 4? It was 4 and the 8.
4 and the 8, yeah.
So people just move down to the 2, and they'll jump up to higher events like the 3,000 or whatever. But
all in the game said that Semenya had to move up to the 5,000, not the 1,500. I'm sure I saw her running 1,500.
Right.
I did see that. Maybe that was before she got fully turfed out.
Right. But once they do some in-depth research, which may have to be kind of invasive, they're going to see that there's advantages, across the board in many facets of training and in all of the events, and that's not going to be a favorable result that people think is going to happen when it comes to whether or not they can run. So if they're going strictly off of that, the results aren't going to get any better. They're going to get worse, because the research is going to show even more that there are advantages, which sucks, because it's naturally how they are. It's naturally how these women are. It's naturally
how they were born. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they have an advantage. Now, whether or not it's, their fault, no.
Right.
But they do have an advantage over women that were born women. See, the thing is now, it's just getting all crazy, because you can't even say women, because someone who decides to turn into, become a woman, it's just like, oh my gosh.
I do want to state some numbers. So allowable testosterone in women is 0.12 to 1.79 nanomoles per liter of testosterone, right? Men, it's 7.7 to 29.4 nanomoles per liter. Significantly more testosterone in the men, right? Now, World Athletics for DSD athletes has allowed 5 nanomoles per liter in the DSD athletes, so which is still about 4 times more than women on the higher end.
Yeah.
So I give the lower end and the higher end. So on average, women have around 1 nanomole of testosterone per liter. They're allowing 5 nanomoles, which is significantly higher than, women classified as natural women are noted as here. So it's still fairly more than women in that class.
That's
and
a lot more.
It's pretty close to the lower end of the men. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's just to be able to run in those events that they've allowed.
Yeah.
So in the other events, they're
this
free
is
to have as much testosterone.
On Bummer, she is not joking. There's just no. And the thing is, how old is she? She's 18. She just did the World Juniors.
18, 21.78. Did you see her finish?
Ridiculous. But she doesn't even know how to run a bend. She doesn't even know how to run the turn yet. She just comes like a train in the home straight. So when she learns to run a bend, she's 18. So her strength is going to get way better.
Yeah.
Her technique is going to get way better. Yeah. Then what?
She's going to run 20 point.
Well, 20 point.
It sounds funny.
All I'm going to say is we're looking at Elaine and going, we're looking at Elaine like, what is she doing running 21.5? Oh my God, this is the most ridiculous thing. Obviously, Flojo, what was it, 21.49? That's going to get obliterated.
It's going to be gone, but...
So, well...
If she starts really dominating, if she runs 20 point, that's when people are going to be like, okay, whoa, yeah. Let's wait, time out, 1 second.
Time out.
But they're going to have to see it first to have some sort of... Because 21.78 as a junior, she ain't playing, So we are going to go over some of these results.
Yes.
And as
there's a lot of results. Jeez.
Yeah, as we go through these results.
Of water.
We're actually going to have a special guest, which was noted if you took a look at the description of who's going to be on this broadcast. He's a little early, so we can wait a few minutes as we look at some of these comments.
All in the game. Should Phelps? Why do everyone always talk about Phelps' long arms? But it's like if
it's a little different.
It's totally different to me.
Different.
It's very different because no one has a problem if she's born that way, but it's difficult because she's got male parts and they're born with an XY chromosome, right?
Right.
Is it XY? Yeah, XY, because women are XX. They're born with the XY chromosome,
right? But
they actually, on the outside, are shown as being women, but on the inside, there's some other stuff going on. So, Phelps is born a man. If I'm competing against a woman who's, XX, a woman, like a natural, and she's faster than me, or she's got more muscle mass than me, or she's much more, whatever, or she's taller than me, or whatever. That's just what it is. Yeah. Now that's within the legal limit. That's what you can't do nothing about, I feel like. I feel like that's just, just deal with that. But then you've got that, but then it goes outside of that realm, I think. So, but anyway.
I mean, if we're talking leniency, 5 nanomoles, I don't want to say it's extremely lenient because I know that they just want to be able to
why wouldn't they just put it at the same as what a woman has? What, the top end of the woman?
It would be impossible for them to get down to that. So, and with their natural testosterone.
I wonder what the highest level ever recorded in any woman track athlete or non in a woman is the highest level. Maybe that's what they're going off
of. A woman
natural born as a woman.
It would never be more than the range that I just gave because it's not possible.
Wow.
So because the range I gave, the higher end of the range is high for a woman, but
I didn't know if that was the highest ever been recorded.
Yeah, it's a good question actually, but we see y'all comments. We're gonna get Oba in the room real quick. I
feel like I've had enough. Like this year's been so controversial with so many things, from COVID, outside of the track. Everyone you can't just talk about anything to do with COVID. Everyone starts, and vaccines and all of this stuff, and everyone starts getting crazy, super emotional, and then in track and field, and I'm going to say it,
Oh, we're just
Sha'Carri.
We're just waiting.
Whoa, what's gonna happen now? What's gonna happen? Sha'Carri. Every time if we mention her, oh my gosh. Yeah. Anyway, so you know everyone gets so emotional. So it's like this is another topic. Yeah. Emotional.
Yeah. We just want to have the discussion, man. We see Oba in here. He hasn't turned his camera on yet. There we go.
Oh.
Hey, Phil.
Looky. Big up the one named Obadeli Thompson.
Oba.
How y'all doing?
We're good. How are you?
Barbados.
Busy, but I'm doing well.
Yeah. You are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We know everybody knows who you are, but for those who don't know, Obadeli Thompson's Bayesian sprinter. Bayesian meets from Barbados. 100-meter bronze medalist at the 2000 Olympics in Sydney. And also has run 19 seconds and run 9 seconds on numerous occasions. He's done the deed. You know what I'm saying? So
I always remember watching Oba and being like, what is this? Huh? You know, like the most naturally talented, just seeing like injuries, man. Fuck injuries.
Jay's always giving you compliments, man.
I am. No, because you know, it's that crucial time when I was, not to say, you know, but I was not quite made it yet. I was still wanting to become this like athlete, and then there's this guy. Obviously, you have all, and then there's this guy just coming doing ridiculous things. You know, technically just looking legs everywhere, just coming. You're like, what the? It was nice to see. I remember seeing the 9.6, windy, but Lord have mercy. I was like. That was before, you know, Bolt and them ones.
Yeah. Oba before his time.
A long time ago.
You had run 9.6, and I know you probably asked about that 9.6 on a lot of occasions. So before we get into what happened in the Diamond League final, can you tell us what you remember about that 9.69 race? Was it 9.69 or 9.68?
9.69.
9.69.
So here's the thing. Of course, thanks for having me on, and
respect.
Hopefully all the viewers enjoy the Diamond League. This year was an amazing year. But to answer your question, I specifically went to the University of Texas, El Paso. I wasn't recruited, and I chose the school that I wanted to go to. And the reason was they had a really good sprinter there called Olopade Adenikin, who was a Nigerian. And he won the 1992 NCAA 100 and 200 meter championships. And then he went on to make the Olympic finals in both events. And because I was a nerd back then with track, before I even knew how good I was, he was the only person in the world to have a winning record against Linford Christie, who won the 100 meters in 1992. So I said, okay, this is the place that I need to be.
Right.
So I left Barbados when I was 17 and looked at the 1996 Olympics and said, okay, I have 3 years in the system. So we established an equal to world junior record when I was a freshman. I ran 10:08 when I was 18, and then injuries. And then 96 rolls around, and that was why I went to school. And I wrapped up my training and everything. So I had actually come off of running 20:36 indoors in the 200 meters, which at that time was really fast. So I was still 20 years old. Yeah, I hadn't yet hit 20, but I was a couple of days shy of 20. And then I on my 20th birthday, I told my coach, hey, can I run a 400? We used to do 400 meter training. And I hadn't run a serious 400 since I was about 13 or 14. And he said, sure. And I ran 45:38. And then 2 weeks later, 2 weeks after I turned 20, I ran the 9.6. So I was in really good shape.
Jeez.
Well, the one thing about that race was that after that race, I was never physically the same. So I got injured in that race. And for the rest of my career, I have been rarely healthy. So I competed pretty much, that race was a defining moment, not just because of the time, but I remember one of my friends who trained with me in Barbados that went to University of Auburn, he was there and he had helped me, walk back to get my clothes. And then I had to take days off of training.
What did you do?
I got hurt.
What injury?
It was more like in the groin area. And later on in my career, after Sydney, these things reemerged. So I've had hamstring, groin areas. So it really threw me off balance for, I think, the rest of my career. But
and the thing about injuries, when you get injured quite young, is that it kind of becomes the defining thing of your career, because you don't really know anything else, and there's always this battle and so much energy that's wasted trying to overcome, and the rehab, and so you can never actually really go out and just compete and be as competitive you want, because there's always that little thing in your back of your mind. Do you feel like that was what was going on with you too?
Absolutely, because I got hurt in 1996. Later that year, I felt something at our conference championships, and then a couple of weeks later at the NCAA championships, I actually pulled up in the 200 meter semifinal after winning my 100 meter semifinal. And so I did a race between then and the Olympic Games. I did a race for 2 months. I took 3 weeks off. We did rehab. Then I got back into some base training for 4 weeks, and then taper for 1 week. I made the semifinals of the 100, and I placed fourth in the 200. So I've never went into any Olympics being healthy, but it does change things, as you said, because you use so much of your energy coming back and trying to preserve your mental health, and then learning how to trust your body. And then when you're on the biggest stages in the world, no one really cares if you're hurt or not. No. Most people have some type of injury.
So
no one cares,
especially in individual events.
Yeah.
We can't hide. We don't have bad days that are covered up by someone else.
No.
We are fully exposed for the world to see. And unlike other sports where it comes down to people's opinion, it's really not an opinion. There's a measurement, there's a time. These things are absolute. You can track. I'm doing better than I was before. I'm not doing better than I was before. These are the people ahead of me. These are the people behind me. It's absolute. And I think that thing plays in your mind constantly, especially when you battle injuries.
Yeah. I always think to myself, like, I wonder, it's never ever going to happen, right? Because we do sport and it's all about the physicality, and our bodies are often breaking down and we're pushing them to the limit. But I often think, I wonder what athletes could have done if we could have a year where it's like we could click our fingers and be magic and have every athlete without any injuries. What would each athlete do, and who would be the number one in the world in each event? Because I wonder if people at their best, being able to compete to their best, I wonder if the world leaderboard would change.
Oh, Anson Henry would have been an Olympic champion three Olympics in a row.
I believe you. Yeah.
I
think
I'm not joking. You guys thought that was funny. It's
I think I could have been up there.
But it's interesting because part of it is also, like I tell people, there's talent. So at the very top, they're really talented people. Everyone's talented, right? Because you don't get to an Olympic Games, where you actually qualify and then you don't make it through the rounds if you're not talented, right? So it's a matter of discipline. It's a matter of the systems that you're in. And sometimes just people say luck, or I don't really use the word luck. You might call it a fortuitous concourse of events, things that you might not have necessarily been able to control. So for example, the lane that you end up in, or the particular heat that you end up in, right? So you might run a first round and you do what you do, but you don't control anyone else. And then the semifinal or the next round, where you're placed, even though it's determined by your first performance, you don't control anyone else. And sometimes those type of things make a difference. Like even the lane assignment, who is next to whom, and the energy and the dynamic of that can change things. So for example, in the Olympic semifinal, when we saw what happened in the semifinal, where there was the Chinese Sun Bingtian.
It's close enough. You're all right. You good. Right? Okay. We got you. Yeah.
And Ronnie Baker, and then Lamont Jacobs. Yeah. Okay. Those guys, it was very similar to what happened with Mike Rogers and Gatlin. I think the World Championships was 2017, where Gatlin ran, I think 9.77, and Mike Rogers runs near his PR or something of 9.85 or something like that. And because of the expenditure of energy, and then to have to turn around quickly and do that again, it changes the final result. So I think what happens is when those things happen, right? The semifinal, if those guys are split in a different semifinal, the output that they had to give changes. And so the final may change. But then again, it's, as I always say, it's about the person who comes, and when everything is said and done, they master the conditions, the competitors, whatever is thrown at them, and they emerge as the victor or victrix, if you want to be sensitive to gender issues. And that is the thing about competition that you have to respect.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to go and look at some of these results. But one of the things I was saying when we were watching the Olympics, which was, I'd never really thought of it before, but if you're in a semi-final that's like semi-final 3, and I'm talking about in sprints, whether it's in whatever event it is, right? If you know what it's going to take to get into the, let's say, the top, the fastest losers, so they have that in every event, that clearly gives you an advantage than if you're in heat 1.
Sure, but I don't think the guys, when they're lining up, I'm saying guys, but I don't think the athletes, when they're lining up in the sprint, are so dialed in on what third place came, for example, because your goal is to go out there and to win, or at least finish in the top 2. Right. And it's different from when I competed, that I knew that it was a top 4 and I knew how to count in races. Sometimes I miscounted, like the semifinals and 99 worlds, where I thought I was in second position, and somewhere around 90 meters, I realized that I was taking it too easy. I was actually in third position. But for the most part, your mission is, okay, you know who won, and you basically get a gauge of what time will I have to run to be able to win. If you're not thinking about winning at that stage and you're thinking about places, you're already lost.
True.
You just have to go and give your best performance. Right. Period.
True.
Yeah. Well,
True. We like it. Yeah. I always love getting the insight.
Oba used to always give me, some tactics here and there.
Did you guys used to train together, no?
We did. When Oba first, before Oba.
With Dan Path.
Yeah. We met each other at a training camp in Cayman Islands. And before Oba said anything to me, before he even said, hello, how are you doing? What's your name? How are you? Man said, what are you doing? You should be running the 4.
It's true though. It's so true.
Friendship got off to a rocky start. You were right. No.
You got. I don't know how.
I don't even know if you know this.
Rocky.
Yeah, it was rocky at the beginning. But I always tell people now that I was in the wrong event. But
definitely. But you loved that. You loved the main event, right? You loved that 100.
Yeah, no regrets.
No
regrets by any means.
I'm just easily a 44 runner. It's just a matter of how deep in the 40. Easily. Like 10-2 speed with his height, with his build.
And not just that, even his stride length. Even his stride length. I'm like, how the heck did you get going? But you apparently had a pretty good start. But like, how do you get going? Because even when he runs, it's quite a lopey, long stride. So I'm like, in the 100.
Too much at the start usually though to try and be in the race, and I could do it, but the latter part of the race I couldn't take advantage of, which I could. I remember I used to do fall workouts. And you've got great lungs. Where if I just let my limbs open up, it was almost like I was cheating
because it was too easy.
It was too easy, but once I get into 100, I burn out my load in the beginning, try to stay in the mix, and then I can't even really utilize my strength. Yeah, what I say, bust my load. No. It's fresh. Burst my load.
I'm not getting the family. But listen, but here's the thing. This is what I always tell people, and you may find this a stat that I saw a couple of months ago. It's that since 1968 with Jim Hines winning, and maybe even before then, because Bob Hayes won in 64, and I believe he was about 6 feet. There's only been one Olympic champion, and that's Maurice Green in 2000. That is not at least 6 feet. So I knew going into this year, it actually favored someone like Fred Curley and Lamont Jacobs, who are taller than 6 feet. So even though, right, Bolt was extremely tall, right? He stands as an outlier, but when you consider like Limber Christie, Carl Lewis, who are like 6'1",
Donovan Bailey.
Yeah, Donovan Bailey.
Right? Yeah. Donovan, really. So in a sense, Anson, it wasn't outside of your realm, but what you would have had to do was to learn to run your height, which means not being so worried about the start, but rather work on your top end speed and speed endurance versus trying to beat people on the blocks who may be shorter and they're going to do their acceleration pattern. But the advantage that you would have is you open up your stride, and because of your height and because if you're relaxed and confident, you will be able to gobble them up later. But a lot of people, when I advise athletes, I tell them, run your height. A lot of people think I'm taller than I am. I'm only 5'8", 9.
Really?
But, okay, my legs are like like a
No
6 foot
way.
person.
Yeah, his legs are up to his
but
ribs.
Gee, when I saw you, when I would see you run, I felt like because of those legs, I thought you were like at least like 6'1" minimum.
No, but we often did high knee drills for like 100, like 50 meters, where my knees are coming up to my chest. And my coach that passed away today, we would do stuff on an incline, going up 50 meters up a hill with just high knees, going slow, slow. So I always practice the high knees from watching Carl Lewis and those type of things. So for me, that's where I got the advantage, was that I was able to maximize everything that my legs had, but I just didn't have the total height that some other people do. And a lot of, unfortunately, athletes, because they're trying to chase this model of dry face, stay low, and all that stuff, they get into positions which are not ideal for their height. And thankfully, and I think, not to take this way off track, but I think for a couple of races, especially after the US trials, I think that's what we saw with Fred Curley. Fred Curley started to run not the model race that is good for him, but start to run a model race of quote unquote 100-meter runners, head down, staying to, and then it clicked over where he just ran his height and ran to his strength.
Yeah. I don't want to skim over this, but you said your coach passed away today?
No, sorry. He passed away in March of this year. He was 86 years old. So he coached me. Thanks. He coached me for a time I was 14 years old.
Okay.
And yeah, he was the visionary for me.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry to hear that, man.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I've it's funny, like losing a coach. Like I lost my first ever coach.
Oh gosh, no.
It's crazy how it hits you, because usually you lose separation with your coach, but it's your coach, so you don't necessarily get to keep up once you're like doing your thing. But it's when they're gone you realize how intimate the relationship was. You know what I'm saying? Like the day in, day out person you were depending on, looking to, basically guided you through your career is gone. You know what I'm saying? Especially in something that you're so passionate about. Track and field for me was my life, and then when it's like he was the one that cultivated that.
To me, especially when you're a young athlete, you know how it is. When you're young, usually a lot of the time you don't really listen to your parents. Well, you listen to them, but you're not going to take everything they say on because they're your parents, right? So this person who's your coach, who's actually helping you achieve a goal like that you have, that you really want to do, and they're there for you, they're putting the time and energy, the respect that you have, and actually how they teach you and the impact they have on your life is like a lot of the time, when you think about it, is a bigger impact. Obviously, clearly it's not more than your parents, but that's what you feel as a youngster. So I know that a lot of my coaches have had a massive impact, and I'm still like really, really close with my coach that I had for the most of my career. We're still cool. Yeah. Johnny Herbert.
Yeah.
But anyway, let me just see. Yeah, Alan's just said he's getting ready to come on soon.
Okay, so
Alan Johnson.
As you've been told already.
You know him, right?
Yeah, we were really close, man. I learned a lot from Alan. We always used to talk. We had the same agent, and looked up to Alan. And one thing his dad told me that I wish I would have taken to heart more. His dad told me right at the beginning of my career, because Alan's dad used to travel sometimes, just be on the circuit.
Lovely.
And he told me, your body is your business. And I wish I would have understood that better. Like, and that's what I try to relay to athletes, that if your body doesn't function and you're in sports, your business doesn't function.
Basically.
So it's your therapy, your nutrition,
sleep,
just your sleep, lifestyle choices, the amount of stress that you have, how you cultivate your thinking and your brain. All those things go into you being able to deliver final outcomes that are high performance. And if you don't take care of your body and it breaks down, like we were just talking about injuries, you don't have a business, because no one can actually step in and do it for you. They talk about things like fungible, things that can be replaced. Well, maybe remember back in the day when the Harrison twins, perhaps when they were younger, the Alvin and Calvin Harrison, who used to run the 400. Maybe if you have a twin, you can get a twin to step in for you.
Imagine,
race, right?
Like, man, I'm mash up today.
Yeah, do you remember that movie? There was a movie Richard Pryor had. It was called Moving, I think. Was it called Moving? I can't remember, but he had twin sons, And that's what they used to do, like they ran the 4, but the school thought it was only one person. So they'd use each other to take breaks and stuff like that. So
the heat.
Yeah, one would run half of the race, go hide behind the stands, and then the other one would come out and finish the race.
If only.
It's funny.
If only.
I know. Okay, so as far as the Diamond League final, I mean, since you're here, we might as well just jump straight into the sprints to discuss those.
Yeah.
Me and Oba have had a lot of discussions.
Oh my gosh, you guys discussions
on Fred Curley and what he is and who he is.
What he is and who he is.
I'm willing to say that to a certain extent I stand corrected, because I was referring to Fred Curley as a 400-meter runner that just happened to run fast in the sprints in the 100, because the 400 is a sprint too. I asked Oba, I was like, yo, well, what is he? Is he 400-meter runner or is he a sprinter? But he was deviating around the question, wouldn't respond. He's just like, he's a sprinter, right? But now that he's had this success, whenever there's success for Fred Curley, I get messages like, so is Fred Curley a 400-meter runner? Is Fred Curley a 400-meter runner? He's a sprinter. He reiterate that he's a sprinter. So we have realized, even though where I say I'm kind of wrong, he's an anomaly. So to give him the blanket term of sprinter is justified, because I can't remember a time where I saw someone win or have great success in the 100 meters, is a 400-meter runner, and then has less success in the 200. It's rare. I remember way back, Jawarren Hooker, I've seen it happen to, if you remember him, Oba, I don't know if you do, but there's certain runners, for whatever reason, very few, where their 100 is good, their 2 isn't that great, but they're a 400-meter runner. You know what I'm saying?
Sorry to cut you. Alan said he's waiting on you.
Yeah, he just...
let's bring it.
Alan just joined the room, and we got to toss some hurdles with him. You know what I'm saying? But
hurdles. For some reason, I've got like some sort of attachment to the hurdles. We always be getting hurdlers on too.
I know.
Yeah.
Hurdles are great.
I really like the hurdles. I think it's kind of very similar to long jump. There's certain aspects of it similar to long jump, so I think that's why I've got a little attachment to it.
Yeah,
probably more than the 100. More than the 100, I've got more of attachment.
For sure.
More of attachment to the hurdles. So
really?
It's very technical, and at some stage, right, your inability to negotiate very precisely will harm you in a way that in the 100 meters, unless you get to maybe like a final, it doesn't hurt as much. But in the hurdles, I remember my old coach, the same coach, telling me the hurdles is like it's like a tiger. Those stripes are like a tiger, and you cannot take anyone for granted. You have to negotiate each and every one of them and do it properly, or it will take you down. So you never actually. And I know Alan. Hey, Alan.
There he is.
Good to see you.
What's
up? Big up for
up?
one named Alan Johnson, yo.
Hey, I'm just finishing practice.
He's just finished practice.
Oh, for real? What was your workout today? You had some 120 repeats over the hurdles.
300 repeats.
Oh, 300 repeats.
Did you run them?
Did what?
Did you run them?
Did you have spikes on?
All I had was
Stopwatch.
There you go. That's it.
I hear that.
You don't do that. That's what. So you guys don't run. You're not on the track. Do you ever jump in, get involved? No.
From spikes.
It's too stress working with the athletes. By the time I'm done with them, I want to go home and take a break.
Yeah. From spikes to stopwatches. It's all good. Jade can talk because she's still doing those 150 repeats and spikes and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Just wants to get a little. I haven't touched my spikes since I stopped running, man.
I don't really put the spikes on.
I actually get sick when I look at them.
Listen.
I feel like throwing up when I just see them in my eyesight.
I'm with.
Respect for joining us, though, man. We're just talking.
Thanks for having me.
We're just talking to Oba about some sprint stuff, and obviously with you on, we were waiting to go through the results. We obviously got a bunch of hurdle questions for you. Jade and Oba were just talking about their appreciation for the hurdles, and Jade especially recently has been on the hurdles. She's on hurdle tip
hurdles.
right now. She has more questions.
Wait, hold on. Let me jump in. Because this goes back to what, hey Alan, this goes back to the whole anomaly of Fred Curley. right? And then it'll segue into Alan, because there's something that Alan may or may not remember that happened. Okay, so back in the day, right? Like guys like Tommy Smith and guys like Steve Williams, for example, were really good at 100 to 400, right? And in 1999 in Rome, Alan and I did some starts with Michael Johnson.
Yes.
Alan, you remember this, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember. I tell the story to this day.
I've heard the story a few times too, but go ahead.
I haven't.
Yeah,
So
I spoke already, so I'll let Alan tell his story.
Oh.
I'll set it up, right? So we were doing block starts, and I think we asked Michael to join us or something, right? So Alan and I are looking at each other like, I'm gonna get pissed off of Michael now because I gotta race him tomorrow in 200. It might not happen, but for sure he's in my domain. We're just doing block starts at 30. I'll leave it there. I'll let Alan finish.
So we're doing some block starts for Mike. So Michael Johnson jumps in. Me and O were like, oh yeah, we're getting ready to blast this dude. 400-meter guy, hasn't run a 200 in a while. Oh yeah, we're getting ready to blast him. So first couple of starts, we were in front of him. So then we were gonna do one more. So I had the bright idea to kind of hype it up. I said, okay, this is the last one. This is the Olympic final. Whoever wins this gets the gold medal. Man, he let us have it. Absolutely killed us out of the block.
No.
And me and the other were like, okay,
out of the blocks though? That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
No. Michael is, I think, at his best, probably could have run 990 or better. But one thing that happened, because his personal best is 1009, and he's gone on record to say that he didn't run the 100 because he kept getting hurt. But when you see, like, to be next to it, and I've been around, I was running Maurice and Bruni Sarin and Ado and Frankie, right? And Michael is legit gone and like gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
For real.
And
I think I was like in 9-9 shape or something around then. That's when 9-9.
But what did he run? Didn't he run like 10-0 or something? He ran like a 10-0 for, and he never ran.
Yeah, but he would get hurt.
Yeah.
Right?
10-0 in since like maybe 1994 or something.
Something way back.
I mean, he just turned it on. When he turned it on, it was on.
When you see, like, for example, in the Olympic final in 1996, that Michael beats the 100-meter silver medalist Frankie Fredericks and Otto Golden off of the turn and moves away from them, right? Just put this in perspective. Frankie had run, and we were talking back in the day, Frankie had run 986, 987, 989. Otto ran 990. Michael is ahead of them off of the turn, having four rounds of the 400 in his legs, having 3 rounds of the 200 in 2 days in his legs. Let's put that in perspective. So when we see Fred Curley, right, the truth about it is someone like Michael Johnson could have done this before. And even Wade Van Niekerk could run sub 10, sub 20,
and sub 44,
almost sub 43. And now we're seeing Michael Norman again, where he ran 986 last year. He's run 2 sub 10s this year, right? And mixed it up, even winning a race recently. These guys are just sprinters. But sometimes what happens is that an athlete might come into a system and a coach may only know how to do 400, or they show talent in one area, or they get hurt and they say, I'm not going to do that. And I think the pandemic allowed some of these athletes to explore things that they wouldn't have done had it been the Olympics last year, where they would have just been dialed in to their event and not risk anything.
Right. So it's a durability factor.
I agree.
Right.
Do you know what? Last week, slightly on a different topic, last week we were talking to David Oliver, another hurdler. I just have to say, we like the hurdlers. And who else was on? Dwight Phillips. And we were talking about like how important like rivalries are, because obviously we've seen some really good rivalries this year. We've seen some good head-to-head, lots of good competition. Alan, like, who are your biggest rivals? Like, or did you really think about that? Or was it like, who are your most, like, did you hate anyone? Or was it like you were all friends? Because we're like, everyone seems to be friends.
Can I make a guess?
Would he have been from my country? Did he speak a little bit like me?
I was saying you probably had a bunch throughout your career, right?
Yeah.
But out of all of them, I would assume that Mark Career was the number one.
Yeah. Yeah. How'd you get that?
I watched a lot of track, and I just, the demeanor between y'all, and you know, a lot of the interviews that would happen and a lot of features that would lead into the competitions where both of you were in and stuff like that. Like, and he wanted you bad. He wanted you so bad, and he could never get you when it really mattered, right? Came close, but never got you when it mattered. Even when it wasn't a bad guess to think he may have beaten you in some of the bigger competitions, but you always pulled it through. So it's him, huh?
Yeah, to give you an idea. So I mean, we're cool now. So it was 96. I'm headed to the stadium to run. I push the button for the elevator door. The elevator door opens up, and Mark's on the elevator. Look at each other, and I go, "I'll take the next one."
No, you didn't. Did you?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Oh, that's funny.
You know, I would have got in there and just like been super like bitch. I was a bitch when I was competing. I was a bitch. So I don't know. I like the domination.
And where was this?
I can't remember where we were.
Because if it was in Europe, them European elevators are pretty small, yo. So if y'all got it at the same time, it would have been like.
I want to say it was in the U.S.
Okay.
I want to say it was in the U.S. somewhere.
Oh, for real.
But it was. He kind of gave me that look like, man, take the next elevator. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to get on that.
I like this. Were you friends with anyone that you were like a big rival of yours?
I felt like Colin and I were friendly. Tony Jarrett. I was friendly with everybody.
Okay.
Really.
Okay.
Yeah, at least I feel like I don't know anything about me, but
you know what, the rivalries and the animosity usually brews with Americans and island people. That's usually where it's the egos tend to clash. I've noticed when I think about Europe. Well, unless there's Europeans that are from an island, like
Brits as well, though.
Well, which straight Brit was like a real like dog? Can't count Lifford. Lifford's a Jamaican, yo. Like, Yadman. Okay. No, he's Jamaican, yo. So,
okay.
Yeah, I feel like the ones that are just straight from Europe are usually they're not as edgy. You know what I'm saying? You get some island people and some Americans. It's just egos.
That
you know
must
what I'm
have
saying?
been my Jamaican side then, because Anyway.
It's definitely the ego.
But nowadays,
I'm gonna ask a question. Hold on, I'm gonna ask a question because I was around Island, right? And you know, and you can tell, and we're all friendly. I was cool with Mark and stuff like that, right? But you know, Mark had a way about him at times, right? Alan's more low key. Mark gets over the top, right? But one person that I want to ask about is Terrence, right? Trammell. Because at one stage y'all had the same coach. And what was that type of dynamic like?
The young lion coming up.
Exactly.
That was for me, it was a really cool environment because I had a training partner. And it was like, for me, I knew, so there was I think 8-year age difference between Terrence and I. So in my mind, it was almost like, okay, well, I'm on top now. At some point, you're going to knock me off. Just anything because of time.
Right.
When I'm 38, you're going to be 30.
Time was on his side, yeah.
Yeah, he has time on his side. So I think that for us, there wasn't really a rivalry like that between he and I. Whereas with Mark, you know, we'd raced each other in college. We were basically the same age, and we were both trying to make it on the scene at the same time. And it was like, okay, who's gonna be the guy to take over for the likes of Roger Kingdom and Greg Foster and Tony Dees and Jack Pierce.
Okay, but gonna push back on you, Alan.
He's saying, no, I'm gonna be that guy.
But hold on, Alan. Okay, so is it that because you still would see him in training and you would know things, would you give him advice, or were you in a position where because it's the hurdles, right? The hurdles, you still got to negotiate over those hurdles. And any advice that you give someone could actually come back to haunt
It's a
you.
tough position to
So
be
was
in.
it right? So did you give advice, or kind of like you just watched and you watch weaknesses and be like, okay, okay, or what was that like?
As a competitor, you're always going to watch weaknesses, but at the same time, I gave him advice. You know, I gave him cues on what he needed to do to be better,
but not to beat you.
But that's confidence, though.
Wordplay.
I think when you're confident in yourself, I feel like that when you're confident in what you can do, and if you're your best on that day and he's his best on that day, if you believe, which I think every athlete does, that you're going to be the best, I feel like if you've got confidence, you're going to help the younger.
Jade actually had a situation like that where she gave some long jump advice to Tiana Bartoletta.
Yeah.
she took the cue. She took the cue and beat her in the competition.
No, but you know what though? Sorry to cut you, Alan, right? But the thing is, right, it was an indoor competition. I was like a little bit hurt, but it was really frustrating because obviously she was really talented. She had won the world championships straight out of college, but she was going through a phase where she jumped like 689 straight out of college, won the worlds in Helsinki, I think it was. But she was going through this phase of like jumping like 5 meters odd. Like, and I'm like looking at her and I can clearly see, really obviously, what she's doing wrong. She's just super rushing the first few strides. She's got all this speed, but she's not like setting up the first few strides. She's rushing them. So therefore at the board, her hips are going to be super low. So, and I'm seeing this and I'm just getting really frustrated and I can't help. I'm one of those people that like give advice and want to help people. But I'm like, this chick's already the world champion, Jade. You haven't got even any world championship. But I already believed in myself. I wasn't in the best shape that day. But at the best, I know that I'm one of the best in the world. That's what I'm believing. So I couldn't help it anymore. She's getting really upset. And I just basically said to her, look, your first few strides, you're really rushing them. And she didn't have a coach or anything. I said, you need to slow the first 3 down, set them up. And then she just went and beat me. I was like, it wasn't even that big, but she hadn't jumped that far in a long time. And she was so happy. And honestly, if I'm really honest, and I don't know, I often think now how much of a competitor I was and where my competitiveness came in. Because honestly, when I saw her jump that, I think she jumped like, it wasn't anything big, it was like 650, but she'd been jumping like 590, right? 6'0", and she's gone from like nearly 7 meters to 590, like a meter less. So when she's jumped that, this just look of relief and happiness, my little heart just was like, oh, I did something good for the day, you know? And then I was like, Jade, you're not really that much of a competitor. But anyway, we want to hear your...
You see Oba shaking his head no as you're talking.
I know. But I want to hear what Alan...
I want to hear what Alan has to say.
Yeah.
So
no, it is like that. It's almost... Maybe it's a cocky arrogance where it's like, for me, it's like, okay, I want to be the best. Here's my training partner, friend. I want to see him do well. So if I don't give him advice, am I admitting that I'm not better?
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Then I can give the advice and still be better.
But Alan, have you ever consoled someone at a championship? So for example, right, at my last NCAA championships, there was a guy who went to Clemson. His name was Tony Wheeler. He was really good, right?
I remember Tony.
Yeah, and I think he had the one World Juniors, or he came second at World Juniors, and so his development in 200 was ahead of mine. And then, but by the time we were seniors, I was the favorite. And I remember him struggling and going up to him, I think in the semifinals, I say, hey, Tony, man, you're a great runner. Like, don't let this shake you, right? And after the meet, I won the meet. I just remember, Tony came over to me with his parents and said, hey, guys, I want you to meet this guy. And he introduced me to his parents, which I thought was mind-blowing, because it was just like, I didn't like to see such a great runner feel down because of injuries and everything that happened. And this is his last meet. Like, yeah, in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to beat him. But have you ever been at a championship where you've encouraged anyone? Or at the championship, you're like, the rules are different. I'm not helping anyone.
At a championship.
Yeah, come on, man.
If you want, I didn't. I was
Okay.
no. If you weren't my trainer,
So, sorry, you got broke. It got broke up for a second. Were you saying if you were my training partner?
Oh, I said if you weren't my training partner, I probably did not give you any advice. Not at championship.
Makes sense.
Maybe at another, and I see you, and we're sitting down eating or something. I may, give you some advice, because when I was coming up, Tony D's, Jack Pierce, those guys, they gave me advice.
Right.
They gave me advice to make that next step.
I mean, it's the right thing to do, but man, it's a tough one, man, because there's one winner. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like every edge counts when you're coming down to the hundreds and thousands of a second. It's kind of like...
Yeah, but so, for me at least, when you start training in November, I always started training in November, go through all this stuff. And for me, at least, when I'm training, I'm thinking about my competition. And when there's one more rep and I'm like, maybe I'm going to take it off, I bet you Mark is going to do two more.
Right.
Hey, coach.
Right.
So for me, the preparation was so thorough that by the time I got there, in my mind, I had already won. I just needed to actually physically run down the track over the hurdles to get.
Right. Yeah.
And there was nothing anybody else could do to take it from me.
Yeah.
I got one more question after that. And this I know. I'm sorry.
I love Oba.
But I'm sorry to do this, but and truthfully, the results will be the results. The year is finished, and right. But this is Alan Johnson. So Alan, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were known sometimes not to show too much in the semifinal. What's the difference between that mindset in a semifinal where you might not want to show all your cards, right? But you still got to finish, like you had to win or play second to get the middle lane. So what's the difference in mindset in the approach to a semifinal versus a final for you?
Semifinal is just giving you an opportunity to the final. So just qualify for me. I mean, for me, it was just, I kind of sized up the competition, and I would kind of work on things a little bit through the rounds. And as long as I had early in my career, I wanted the middle lane. Later in my career, I started having the mindset that, hey, you know what? If you're going to win this race, it doesn't matter what lane you're in, because you're going to be in front if it goes according to plan.
Right. You were always a really good starter. Sorry. You were always a really good starter in finals. Like,
I worked on it in the rounds too. I tried to.
Okay.
That's adrenaline. What I'm about to mute Oba in a second if he tries to cut my question I'm about to say right now. But Terrence Trammell, Omar McLeod, Grant Holloway, Alan Johnson. I heard you ran a pretty good deuce. You know what I'm saying? You had some solid sprint times. All sprinters that are hurdlers or hurdlers that are sprinters, hurdlers that can sprint. I don't see many anymore, at least not as much as we should see. In the
Colin Jackson.
Oh, Colin Jackson's a huge one.
In the 60.
Yo,
He was like world indoor champion now.
Yeah, and Mark McCoy. So I feel like we see less hurdlers now that can actually sprint. Now, do you find it to be an advantage or a disadvantage? And how did you navigate handling that kind of speed when you were hurdling?
Well, I think that I don't think it's really an advantage or disadvantage, because the hurdles, so you take the 100 meters, for example. Stride length and stride frequency is a factor, right? You take 110 meter hurdles, it's all about stride frequency. So you may have a guy who can only run 1050, but he can turn over, and he can run the fast as somebody that can run 9.9, or even faster than a guy who can run 9.9, who may not be able to turn over as fast. So,
do you think it's the same
like
with the women's and the men's? Because obviously the women's hurdles are lower, so it would be more.
They're sprinting.
Women, the fastest person, all other things equal, the fastest person is going to win
In the 100?
in the women's.
Like the fastest?
In the 100 meters.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Because I was going to say that whoever is able to just open their stride is able to run fast in the women's hurdles, because there's some fast hurdlers with the women, but because of the distance, they're not able to open up. The men can't open up no matter what in a lot of cases. So it's usually quick feet and shuffling, right? The women,
right?
You tend to see women that are literally sprinting between the hurdles because they can, right? It's not as much shuffling in with the women. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. That's why I say, for the most part, the fastest person is gonna win in the women's hurdles. I mean, the women now are, even if they haven't run it, they're probably capable of. You got to be capable of running 11.2.
Okay.
If you're out, you're really running. You can run 11.2 or better.
Yeah.
Do you think they should up the hurdles for the women?
I know what the side means, yeah. The side says it all.
I want to hear what he's got.
There's a part of me that says yes, and then there's a part of me that says, let's just keep it like it is. Let the women hurdle, because they still have to hurdle better and run fast as hell. And let's see who can run under 12 seconds.
But I just feel like it's less of a, like when you watch the men hurdle, the men are hurdling. They are hurdling. Like you've got to be a hurdler, like a technique. I'm not saying the women don't have to be super technical, because they clearly do, but it's just a totally different thing. When you see someone like, how tall are you?
5'11".
Right, 5'11". I think
whatever that is.
No, that's perfect. I don't know the other stuff.
Feet,
we do feet. Feet. But Colin Jackson, same thing. But when you see that hurdle compared to like 5'11", and you see, what is it, 3 foot? I don't know in the other thing. 3 foot. 3'6".
Yeah, 42 inches.
It's 3 foot.
2 feet.
No, it's 3
2
foot.
feet.
No.
Wait.
Yours, men's.
42. It's 42. Yeah.
Oh, the men.
Yeah.
Feet, sorry.
Okay,
Yeah.
3'6". I think that's 3'6". Yeah. That's a lot. That's a you know, technically, but whereas the women, it's just.
You guys are really opening your hips, and you're really getting your leg up there, and really getting over the top. Like it's. And
to really get off the hurdle, and then like you're talking about, get the feet down. It's like it's an art.
I think the races are very different.
They
the
are.
Women's
they
and the
are.
men's.
No, they are.
Yeah,
they are. But
in the
hurdles,
the amount of energy that a male has to absorb landing off the hurdle is tremendous.
Okay.
Say that again.
The amount of energy that a male has to absorb landing off the hurdle is tremendous.
It's very much like jumping, long jump.
Yes.
Because you log jumped, right? You used to log jump.
Oh yeah.
What was your best? Come on now.
You got her height.
Come on now. See, this is what I'm saying.
797.
How far?
Is that what you?
How far do you think I jumped?
Well, did Oba just?
I give you a. Oh, you want to go first? Go ahead.
No, I just heard what Oba said, but I would have said maybe 770, maybe.
Okay, I give you a 760. I mean 70. Okay, I was gonna say 63.
I think it's 792 or 797. I
No,
can't remember.
814.
What? Jeez,
that's wind legal?
What?
Yeah, indoor.
What?
Indoors?
You know.
Was it on a downhill? Yeah. Is it down?
No.
I'm joking. Jesus.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Runway was on the ground, not a raised runway.
Wow.
On the ground.
And you never cared about. I guess you obviously didn't care about the long jump then.
No, I did, but I had patellar tendonitis.
Mm-hmm. I
did
that.
it when I had patellar tendonitis, and it was killing me. So I did the hurdles and the long jump. So when I got done with university, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on the hurdles because this long jump stuff hurts too much.
Oh yeah, it does. It does. People think it's easy. You just run and jump. Like, it's easy. Is that all you do? Run and jump? Like, dude, if you just want to run and jump really, really like short, but if you really want to run and it's not. And the thing is, the timing of it is what is people don't understand that don't do it. The timing at the board is millimeter here, millimeter there. You're just jumping from like half a meter, 30 centimeters off, just from tiny things. So it's really difficult. But anyway, Oba, I'm asking you a question actually.
No, I got a question for Alan. But
okay, but hold on. I gotta ask you: have you ever long jumped?
Not. I think I did in secondary school, so probably when I was 13 or 14. But when it became obvious that I was a sprinter, my high school coach, he saw me out there goofing around doing high jump, and he told me he never wants to see me doing anything like that again because I'm a sprinter, and I don't do it. But we used to goof around a lot. So I'm so that's that. I do have a question for Alan. Alan, now that I'm hearing this stuff, right? Do you think that hurdlers are perhaps the most athletic of all the events? I mean, okay, we look at decathletes and they do a multitude of things, but when you think about the speed and the agility and the negotiating, the hurdles and all that other stuff, do you think that hurdlers are, especially the male hurdlers, are perhaps the most athletic or some of the most athletic overall in track and field?
Ooh.
I think any field event, you have to have a high level of coordination because you have all these different things moving in funny directions at the same time. So no, I don't think hurdlers are the most, but I think field event athletes in general are the most athletic.
You know what? I mean, obviously.
Interesting.
No, but you know what it is? That
Interesting
people
response.
no, but because obviously, you know, the when you see someone lined up against, you know, 7 other people, and you see a line of people going at it, that's what people like. People like that. It's exciting to watch. Everyone loves that. You see someone instantly win. They like that instantaneous, like, you know, what's it called? Satisfaction, right? But with field events, honestly, the timing of how and the way you've got to move everything, people don't really understand. I will look at something like a discus, or hammer. The release, the time and the angles, it's just javelin, high jump, every event, long jump, triple jump. Look at the triple jump, every pole vault. He said to me the other day, what did you say to me the other day about the pole vault? He says that he thinks the 100 meters is harder than the pole vault. I was like, what are you doing?
Wait.
Go on, say it.
What I was saying was recovering from multiple sprints in an event is different from recovering from multiple vaults at an event. Like to come back and be able to duplicate a performance.
Oh, that was right.
I was saying that vaulters have an easier time duplicating a performance in a few days as opposed to a sprinter who runs an all-out 1 or 2 rounds in an event. That's what I was saying. Recovery.
I don't know about that one.
Jesus, I was trying to say what it takes, what it actually takes.
Okay, but it sounds better than what Jade said. Admit that. Admit that at least, because she had me sounding crazy. You know? What I was saying was, from a recovery standpoint, it's easier to come back in the vaults in a few days as opposed to the sprints. When you think about it, I mean, think about the way sprinters prepare. They prepare through a rough and rigid base season because they have to deal with situations like that on occasion. When pole vaulters don't have to do that kind of base and get that kind of background because they're not going to have those kind of demands. So if the demands were as severe, to me, they would have to have the same kind of prep.
But they do a different type of prep. They might not run like 400s or 300s or whatever, but the amount of work, the conditioning, and how much work they have to put in. Because remember, the conditioning, you've got to be conditioned to be able to compete from this time of the year all the way through. And you've got to be able to maintain the strength. So you have to put in a base that's solid. It doesn't matter what event it is. And it's just different.
I've trained with vaulters.
So have I, but you...
They weren't doing as much as I was or the other sprinters.
So I can't hear. Yeah.
So, Anthony, I see your side and why you're saying that, and I agree with you.
Respect. Let's cut it there.
No, just joking. Go ahead. At the same time, I guess I'm thinking about the pounding that they taking off. You know, if their plant is under and the pole rips them off the ground with their shoulders and their back, I'm thinking about the wear and tear of that. But I think you're right as far as the prep goes and the pounding and the amount of running that you have to do to sprint is way, way, way more.
Respect.
Respect. I mean,
you get gunshots for that.
No, but I don't know. I know that they don't run. I know that they don't run. Like, as a jumper, I was running 300s. As a long jumper, I was doing 300 reps. In fall training, or what we call winter training, I'm doing like 6 3s and 5 3s and this type of stuff. So, sorry?
What's your best 300?
Oh, it wasn't that great though. I had, you know what my biggest problem is? My biggest problem was I have a really, really, he's cut off. I think he's going to get cut off anyway, right? He's going to cut off anyway and come back.
His camera came off. We've got 5 minutes and 20 seconds left for both y'all before we get our next guest in. But there we are. My best 300, I think, was 30. It's not that great actually, but I think it was like 37.9, which is not great for a one-off, but. Wait a minute.
That's good.
That's pretty good.
No, because these chicks be running 35 and 36.
Yeah, but they're not jumpers though.
Yeah,
but you're a jumper.
Yeah, that's actually pretty
good.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
So that...
For a jumper. But I was more like, my biggest problem with that was my lactic tolerance was really, really bad. So it took me so long really long to build up the lactic tolerance. Like I just couldn't, it just was not happening. I was always struggling with that. But then once I got to a certain point where we'd go up and then come back down to a few runs, I'd be all right. But I was always injured. Like we were talking about it earlier with Oba. Like I was literally constantly injured. There was never a time from when I was 14 years old that I fractured my spine at 14. And then that was that. For the rest of my career, it was just a constant like negotiating that. So I know you had obviously a few injuries as well in your career that stopped you doing some stuff.
Yes. Some soft tissue stuff, hamstrings.
Hamstring, all that stretching. One of the things I wanted to ask, which I'm hoping that you've healed from and, you're recovered. Oh, well,
No, Jade, please ask your question.
Hold on, wait. No, it is about the thing that Alan was just talking about, because Alan shared with me, I wish I would have figured this out before. And I think when you look at the longevity of Alan's career, people like me, when it was the off season, it was literally the off season. And I think one of the things that I learned from Alan way too late was that Alan never let himself get too out of shape, even in the off season. Well, for me, it was always a new year, almost like starting from scratch. And I wish I would have had that type of wisdom. And in terms of like the injuries and stuff like that, because when you get too far off, I think if you get back into training, that potentially that can hurt you. So Alan, I mean, I think that's what you told me, but again, it was so deep into my career that was couldn't do much with it.
So what were you saying, Jade?
What was I saying? I was about to say, but we've only got like 2 minutes where we're gonna have to.
We got 2 minutes left. 2
of
minutes
this live.
So Jay's gonna ask your question. We don't want any interruptions from Oba.
No, Oba, we love it. What I don't know how quick the response is gonna be able to be, but hopefully you've healed from this situation. But obviously 2004 was a bit of a, after winning in 96, then obviously missing in 2000. I think you were were you injured or something?
I was injured, but I was fourth.
You were fourth. And then in 2004, you fell. When, throughout your whole career, obviously you're world champion, Olympic champion, but you've obviously had some really big losses, which I'm sure were devastating. What do you feel like you learned most from the losses or from the wins?
I think you learn more about yourself from the losses, because it's, especially where I was used to winning. So then, like, the 4th place in Sydney was absolutely devastating for me. Like, absolutely, or the biggest most devastating moment of my career.
Wow.
2004, when I fell, I was like, you know what? I fell. This is messed up, but it doesn't define my entire career. I missed out on this, but I have other opportunities to do other things. And I was kind of, not that I was all right with it, but I was okay.
Okay.
I wasn't ready to jump. In Sydney, I was ready to jump.
Wow.
So, but I think that for me, losing, I learned how to win.
We talk about that all the time.
We always talk. My son says that. My son says, when you lose, you really win, because losing is winning in disguise. That's what he says. He's 4 years old.
Losing is winning in disguise.
Losing is winning in disguise.
When you win, it's easy to believe that everything is okay and it's great. Mm-hmm. Fine. You don't need to fix anything because you won. When you lose, it makes you look within.
Yeah.
And better.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Oh my gosh, it's well, there we go. That was like, we don't even get to say bye.
I know.
I really have more stuff to speak to with Alan, but I know that we've got someone else.
We do have
we do.
Which is ultimately what we wanted to take care of. It's crazy that light went out same time that went out. Exact same time. So yeah, great guests.
I love it.
Great discussions.
And you know what? I'm sorry, we're not really going through all the.
We're not even getting to the meat of the questions that we want to.
And we're not even getting to the meat. We're not even getting to the results.
And the actual track meat.
But the problem.
The meat of the questions. Oh, you're saying the meat of the questions.
No, not the meat of the questions. The actual track meet. You know, the Diamond League final this happened last time when we had guests. But sometimes it's about the guests. I think our last one, we had a good balance. You know, we tried to balance it. But you know, it's all about when the guests can fit in and their schedules, and then we get carried away talking.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do, I just want to fix this light here real quick. Our guest is waiting.
Mm-hmm.
This is a surprise, guys. I don't know if they can hear me.
It's a surprise, apparently, this guest. Very much.
Surprise, guys.
Oh, man, we got to speak to Ober a little bit at the beginning, and we didn't really get to fully get all of the juice out of...
Can you message Alan and just let him know what happened?
Yeah, let's message Alan. I think he probably knows that we got with Anson's bootleg Zoom. I think we need to like buy the actual Zoom now, you know, so we don't get cut off and cut the guests off.
That's a good idea.
But yeah, I'll message Alan. Let's see.
Okay, so if you guys want to guess in the comments what we got.
Oh, he says, thanks so much. It was fun. If you ever need me again, I'd love to do it again. How nice. Yeah, we didn't even get to everything. I'm going to be saying that right now.
Great temperament. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Our next guest coming to the stage. You may have heard of him. I'm thinking you may have heard of him. Decorated. Fast. Polarized. Old. I don't want to say.
It's not old.
Seasoned.
No, we call
seasoned, because I ain't old and you ain't old. Seasoned.
Yeah, I'm not old. I'm like a couple years older. So you're definitely a couple of years even older than that.
Well,
so
you gotta put the extras on. Yeah, that's true.
I like it.
Put the extras
so who have we got? Let's see.
What's going on,
that?
my
we hear
guy?
A voice.
Looky, ladies and gentlemen. Look who just happened to stroll through. that dude, Jay Gatt. Yo, let me give you some gunshots in here real quick. Yo, big up yourself, yo.
What's going on, man? What y'all doing? What you want from me? It's 11:50 where I'm at. I'm in Italy / Switzerland.
Oh, are you?
Yo, why was I thinking you were on the east? Oh, okay, you need to get to
Oh.
bed, man. You're still on
You
Florida
competing?
time though. When'd you get out there?
No, I'm gonna be in Bellinzona. So at Bellinzona, I'm on the 14th, and I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go to Nairobi. I'm gonna go to Nairobi on the 18th.
Oh, you're getting it in.
Yo, hold up? You're doing some real running right now. A lot of people are about to wind down for the season, but you getting some races in, huh?
I gotta get some bucket list in, man. I've been to Bellinzona like 4 times, so like just like a little getaway from me, man. And then Nairobi. Never ran in Africa, and I want to run in Africa, man. Like I want to be able to run, really run and race.
You been to Africa before?
I've been to South Africa. I raced in Pretoria before. We ran a 150 there, but I want to race like in the heart of Africa. You know, like Kenya, Ethiopia. You know,
Tanzania. There's some great. It's like the most beautiful place. It's like got so many.
That's what I'm saying. We never get it. Everyone always tells us like, oh, it's always huts and wild animals.
Well, that's all we see, yo. That's all we see is the huts and the flies on people.
I'm gonna see the video of they're gonna put us in like a nice hotel. They're supposed to give us safari. They're gonna do us nice, man. They're supposed to. So we'll see.
So you're just getting it in. You're like, you know what? I ain't ready to be done. You ain't ready to be done. But are you ready to be done? Because we had you on a little quick one the other day. I just get straight in.
She dove in, yo. That was supposed to be a lot of questions at the end, yo.
I'm just saying, no, it's not going to be at the end. Why? Because it's like, he's got to go soon. He's got to go to, we were talking to about
you got to go to bed.
Sleep.
Yeah.
Looking after the body. The body is the business.
We know you need to sleep. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
You know what? I respect it because at the end of the day, my fans deserve to know where my headspace is, where I'm at. They rode with me through thick and thin, so I really appreciate my fans. Right now, going into this off season, I'm really gonna think about it. I'm on the fence.
Yeah.
I've been having outside of track and field, and what I can do is help make track and field and other sports better by building programs for the youth and be able to teach young athletes how to be more professional. But also, I think I have something left in the tank if I go and get and really train. Like. This past season, I had a baby boy. You know what I mean?
Congrats,
so
man.
I appreciate it. Stayed up all night, crying. What I mean? So it's like this has been the most. I don't want to say trying because it's been a gift and a joy, but it's been a challenge. This training cycle has been a challenge for me because of injury, because of parenting, all those kind of things rolled into one, which I didn't have to deal with before, and now it's a new experience for me. But to my fans, I am going to take the opportunity to do October and November and really think about where my headspace is, what I'm going to do. I always tell myself I never want to be that athlete who's getting 4th or 5th and stay in the game. You know what I mean? I have a standard for myself. It's just for myself.
It's hard to let it go though, but you don't want to be that athlete that's like, if you know you've got it. And no, I don't think anyone else wants to see that. I'm just being honest, not just with you, of anyone. The worst thing is when you see someone who's just been there, done it, and then they're still, because it's hard as an athlete. You don't know, it's all you know, it's all you've ever done. So it's like, well, what, and even if you've got things lined up, it's like, but who am I actually going to be once I'm done? It's like, it's quite a scary thing, I think, for a lot of people. And also, it's just that life, you're used to it. So. Yeah,
it is. I'm used to it. I'm used to being on the road and traveling, but now I can see it from a different angle now. But I'm kind of enjoying it though. I get to sit back, watch certain races, watch competition, and always be in it, and I can see it from a different angle. But you know how it is. Both of you know how it is.
Yeah.
The spirits are still in you. Like, hold on, I want to get out there and jump. I want to get out there and run.
No. When I was done, I was completely done.
Not me.
I knew. You're not you. This one, he still loves the whole feeling, getting it, not me.
Yo, year 2012, I said I was done. 2013, I was like, you know what? Let me just go to the track and just see what these guys are saying. You know what I'm saying? Hang around with the guys. And it was like, just put my flats on and jump in a little warm up. Let me jump in a workout. Let me put my spikes on. Let me jump in a competition. And before I know it, like I was in broadcasting school. I was training maybe 2 or 3 times a week, not even every day. But then I was like, well, I might as well jump in a competition because I actually felt all right, and I still felt it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, not me.
I think you should always do it, no matter how you're finishing. If you feel it, if you still feel like, yo, I want to do this, you should do it, yo. So that's where I usually think.
Maybe you'll see me some masters competition.
Not.
I was about to say you. I was about to say you're really thinking about that because
you're probably already. Have you not got the world record? Who's got the world record?
Kim.
You must. No. Has Kim got the world record?
Yeah.
Did you?
But you know, like, all right. So you know when it's like that old saying, like, when you're a baby, you transform into an old person, and when you're an old person, you become a baby again. Basically,
yeah.
It's like age group youth, so it's like an age bracket.
Yeah.
So in master, an age bracket. So so in my age bracket, I'm the man in my age bracket.
You're the man,
so
yeah.
Kim Collins older than you.
Oh yeah, because I think he was 40 and he ran like 9.9 something.
Yeah.
So I think this is what this just is really. That's what you're trying to come. That's what you're doing. You really just want to beat Kim Collins' Masters World Record, the 40-year-old one.
I've been racing that man since 2002. I'm not on that mission.
Crazy.
You're like, I'm not trying to say that. Now the question is though, what you just said you just had a baby. How old's your baby?
He is 8 months.
Oh my gosh, that cute little age. But really, you're just out of the woods. Wait until he hits 1. It's even better. But do you think that's changed you a little bit in terms of how you see the world? What are obviously your priorities now? Your priorities are slightly different, but has it give you a different feeling in terms of motivation to do more, or are you kind of like a bit backed off a little bit now? Like, yeah, you know what? I want to be there. I don't want to be traveling the world and missing stuff. Or
it's your second, right?
Is it your second?
My first. Yeah, I was gonna say my first child. He's 11 now.
Oh wow!
So there's a big age.
Yeah.
He gave me that fire. You know what I'm saying? Like my first fire. This second child has given me warmth. Like he's made me a little softer. You know what I mean? So it's different. I guess I experience it now. Now I can understand like how different kids kind of pull on different strings in your heart. You know what I mean? Make you feel different things.
Absolutely. And especially at different times in your life as well, when you understand the world in a different way, you've been through different things, you know?
Yo, 11 years ago would have been when you were on the comeback. That was right when
exactly.
That would have been
that was that
crazy timing. Crazy timing.
That was on something. Gotta feed my baby kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Do you know who told me that? I think I can't remember what year it was. Maybe 2004 or 5 or something like that. I think 2004. When we had him on the other day. My brain. What's going on? Sprint.
Sprinter.
Oh my gosh, funny guy, comedian.
Oh, Bernard Williams.
Right. So Bernard Williams, obviously I remember speaking to him at a competition and he had just had a baby and he's like, listen, I'm about to get the money. I'm on the paper chain. Listen, I got a mouth to feed now. And his whole entire vibe was completely different when he had a child. It was like totally different.
You just see the change. It changes people. Even like Aaron and Andre, you know what I'm saying? The different, you know what I'm saying? It's, I can see it. But I wanted to ask you this. At the trials, you were doing an interview with FlowTrack afterwards. And there was a section, you got really emotional. You had to come off the mic and get up, walk away. And you came back.
Yeah.
So what triggered that?
Boy, once again, I mean, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. So like the most important part of my life, other than my child and my kids, were going to the Olympics. You know what I mean? Training for Olympic trials. And I realized I woke up that morning of the Olympic trials, the first morning of the prelims. And I realized that this was going to be my last, no matter what, even if I go next year, it'll be my last Olympics, my last goal. And I remember warming up and I remember being in a car heading to the stadium. And I just was like, I was in the backseat just pouring, crying. Cause I feel like a part of me was gone. Like a part of me just was about to die. Like I was never going to do a certain thing in my life ever again. So after the interview, you know, obviously with the hamstring injury and everything, I was already emotional. So I think that it just kind of, it became overwhelming for me. And then seeing one of my teammates, like in the corner of my eye, I was just like, because fun fact, almost every championship or every nationals or trials that I've competed in, I've had some kind of knick-knack injury. Let it be a hamstring or a blister on the bottom of my big toe, or something has always pushed me to that point of it's either going to be do or die. And I felt like it was it was the same situation. I had to just wrap it up with an ace bandage and I get through it. If I'm gonna be good, I'll be good. If I'm not, I'm not. So that's where I was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did it happen in the semi, or did you feel it before the semi?
It happened in the semi.
It happened in the semi, like 80 or 90. No, actually, it was right before the finish line, wasn't it?
Yeah, about 10 meters.
Ugh. Running them 9.8s, boy. It's like it ain't as easy as when you're like in the late 30s as it was when you're in your late 20s. You know what I mean? But
you might have lost some electrolytes in those tears you was crying earlier going to the track that day. You know,
hey, 100%, man.
You're like, man, why? Should have took some salts.
So I'm not sure if you checked out the Diamond League final today, but there's something that stood out to me. Okay. Shelly pulled out of the 100. She wasn't running the 100, right? Which I'm confused, I'm baffled by, because both of us been talking this year about how the women have been killing the men from a competitive standpoint. They just want to buck heads all the time, buck heads. And you seen she got Elaine in Lausanne, was it? Or it was she got her in Lausanne and then she kind of cut the season off. You know what I'm saying?
But she raced the other day.
But she raced in Poland.
Yeah, Poland.
But didn't run the Diamond League final, right? Say you're in a similar position. Say you're in a similar position.
I like this.
Okay, yeah. Where you lose the Olympics. You come back in a meet afterwards, beat the Olympic champion, right? Mm-hmm. And there's the Diamond League final coming up where you're supposed to race again. Diamond League final, which is the second biggest meet of the season behind the Olympics. Would you not run?
All right. So the rivalry between Elaine and Shelly Ann, in my opinion, is a very unique rivalry. Elaine beat Shelly Ann in the Olympics and ran 10.5, right? Shelly Ann has not yet to run 10.5. She just ran 10.60 and beat Elaine with a 10.60 in Lausanne, right? She threw down the gauntlet, said, all right, I'm coming for you. I think she ran in Poland. She ran in Poland for the bag. Because some athletes go around the world in these little places that don't have that many athletes, and you go out there and run because you're going to get the bag, right? So that payday. I think maybe she felt like she knew she wasn't in 10.5 shape, and that's what her goal is now. Her goal is to run 10.5. She ran in Lausanne. She ran 10.60. She beat Elaine. She said, all right, I got you. My next step is to run 10.5. If I'm not in 10.5 shape, why am I going to race you again? There's no reason. I'm going to see you next year.
For real.
So
you wouldn't have ran?
I looked at.
You wouldn't have ran?
I would have ran.
You would have ran. I know you would have ran, yo. I know you would have ran. But I can't. There's not many that wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if just getting that one win would have been good enough. Like, you beat me at the Olympics. I need to beat you at the Diamond League final, yo. I got to show people that when it's on the line, I can get you. You know what I'm saying? At least you got that gold medal, but I'm gonna leave here with this 30K and the rep. You know what I'm saying? The last meet of the season, I'm gonna get you and win twice.
But I'm racing guys who when we come across the line is going to be a 10.8 or something like that. You talking about two women who are duking it out for the title of fastest woman alive.
Right.
That's, you know what I mean? We're playing checkers over here while they're playing chess. They're trying to build a legacy. Right. They're trying to seal their legacy. You know what I mean? So that's a big thing right there. I ain't gonna let you get too many W's on me. You know what I mean? I'm gonna come back ready with a 10.5, and then we're gonna see where you at. Right. You know? So I think that's where the game plan is going to.
Yeah.
I feel like you know, I've been the one saying this a lot this year, that actually, and Anson just mentioned it, that one of the things, and you come from the time when rivalries were crazy with the men, and you had big personalities, and you're one of them, you know, and everyone, and the whole personas, and it's exciting to watch all of these. And then at the moment, I feel like the men, there's quite a placidness. I mean, I think Fred Curley's got a little bit of there's something about him, he just doesn't care. He just thinks, I am the best at whatever I want to do. And I like that, like that
the characters.
Kind of, the characters. Yeah. They're quite, but with the women this year, it's crazy. Like they've kind of taken over what the men were doing before. All the rivalries with the women and like all of the stuff, I feel like it's exciting. And a lot of the time the men, especially earlier on in the season, some of the top ones that they weren't really running against each other, and you're not really building that. Whereas the women were just hitting it. They were hitting each other. They were running against each other. So I think it's a little bit of an anticlimax that Shelly-Ann didn't run, because I think it's the first time all year where they didn't hit, head up.
Yeah, I was very disappointed in that. I feel like it took away, without, I don't know if she cares or not, but I feel like it kind of took away from what the women had established this season, which was we buck heads, we race, we drop times. And I think that you never know when you're going to be that kind of shape again. So, I mean, the world record was in reach. And maybe she was injured. I don't know, but to me it seemed like a chess move. But you see the chess move and you understand the chess move is basically what you're saying.
I see the chess move. I understand the chess move. When it comes to those two people who have a rivalry, I see where they're coming from and where they're trying to go with it. You know what I mean? I don't think that it was. I see exactly where you're coming from, where you wish that they were there and they were going against each other at every race, 100%. You know what I mean? I think that she wants to go home, get relaxed, and then get ready to run 10-5.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I've got another question for you, because obviously you were competing still when I was competing, when Ansa was competing, and I feel like I've been done for like ever. I'm not even in this world anymore, right? We're like literally on the other side of it. But what, I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot with this, but was track and field better back in the day? Or is track and field better now? You have a front row seat. You're doing it. You're living it. You're doing. Because to me, it just doesn't.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Okay, you said you answered really quick too, because there's something. I don't know what it is. I don't know
what it is.
There's something.
And we thought it's because we're not competing that maybe that's why. And it was our time when we were competing, so that's why it was good. But you're doing it then to now. So I mean, you were what Olympics have you been to? Which one did you win? 2004.
Yeah.
2004.
That was like I was there. We were both there at 2004. You were there 2012.
So 2016.
Yeah.
And then you know what I'm saying. So you've seen it. So quick, not even no hesitation. He was like back in the day.
Back in the day, I think what separates when we were around, from an athlete's perspective, is there was no social media. It was just us.
Said that.
We enjoyed each other.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We had fun. We enjoyed each other. We hung out. We partied. We had a great time.
We did.
But also, like, the competition felt more real. It didn't feel like it was a performance. And I think that's how social media is right now. Social media gives that thin veil between every athlete. So every athlete's trying to put on for their persona and trying to create something for their persona. And they're still running great. Don't get me wrong. It's just that it doesn't have that same kind of energy it did from back in the day where we had that hustle, that grind,
I think that's what it is for me. And obviously I'm not competing now, so I don't know. But from the outside looking in, it seems like everyone is very about the social media. You see the messaging straight after, like we just see them racing the Olympic semi-final, and then within like 10 minutes there's a message from them saying blah blah blah. Or for me, no, but I'm just saying, like, I understand this is the world.
Like 5 minutes after
5 minutes after the race. Like, how I was like my phone was locked up. I know it's a different time now, and that's what you've kind of got to do, right? My phone isn't on. Like, it's just never going to be on. I don't want no one to. I didn't even want my family, let alone the world, seeing like trillion like notifications coming through of people saying stuff. I don't want to see all of that. But there just seems to be, it's so true, like this kind of persona that's put on. And back in the day, it felt so much more real. People were a little bit more real. The rivalries, even though we've got some really good rivalries now, we were talking about this over the last few weeks. Everyone's so friendly with each other. Everyone's like hugging, and there was some people hated each other. And I'm not saying you should. Because they're still able to perform really well. But like, people were hating each other back in the day. And then you'd have some people you like, but it's just totally different.
But the crazy thing is, back in the day when the rivalries were real, only the people inside the track world would know about the rivalries.
Yes.
Like now, the world knows about if there's going to be a rivalry. Right. You know what I'm saying? Who's talking to, and then everyone has their own 2 cents to put in, like, oh, that's not nice, or you guys shouldn't talk like that. You lose that competitive edge. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I would 100% back in the day. Back in the day was the best.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm going to say it, and everyone can just... But obviously you train with Sha'Carri, right? And
yes, I do.
obviously, you know, she's brought so much like fire and excitement.
Pick up the
Whether
one
you
named
like
Sha'Carri,
it,
yo.
I don't business what no one's got to say, because we just like that. She's got the vibe of back in the day, to me. She would fit more in with how everyone was back, not so nicey, you know. So that's what I like. That I like that little freshness. I just like her being real. But you know how it is at the moment. Everyone's so sensitive about everything. But you obviously train with her, and she's super freaking talented. So you know obviously what she's gonna do. How do you think next year is gonna fare up for everyone?
So I think that this year kind of took her by storm, and then she took the world by storm. When she started off, she only maybe had like 200 followers on Instagram. Now, you know, she got like 3 million followers on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? So that tells you how crazy her year has been. What you see is what you get. That's the best way to explain it. She doesn't put on, it's not a persona. Like the way you see how she acts on TV, she's like that every day at practice. Every day at practice. So, but the thing is, I think everyone sees that raw, you know what I mean? But they don't realize that she has a kind heart in there too, you know what I mean? And someone who's been, and I try to tell people, I was like, for us, track and field is probably the hardest thing that we have to deal with in our life, you know what I mean? Because it's like a lot of plan, it's a lot of like hard work, you know what I mean? It's a lot of pressure. Her growing up, her upbringing was probably harder than her track and field rise, because she's so talented.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that she didn't realize how super talented she was compared to the rest of the world. And we would sit at practice and watch her run times, and it was comparable to running 10.5s. So we already knew that we run 10.5. It's just that everything around her was a distraction.
Yeah.
Because she was coming.
Yeah.
I think next year she's definitely gonna have another. She has a reason to have a chip on her shoulder now. So she's gonna go out there and take it more personal, and she's gonna come out there and you gonna just how you love to see how she is and all this. That's what you're gonna see next year. You're gonna be there for you next year.
Do you know the last thing I want to say on this point? I don't know if Anthony's going to add to this, but obviously you went through a phase where like you're coming out, everyone's booing, like everyone's just the hate, and it's like, I don't know how someone can mentally cope with that. Like me personally, I don't think I'd be able to cope with that amount of like people and staying focused and stuff like that. So obviously that's what she's kind of going through, something similar in terms of like people turning on her. Obviously you've been there and been through it, so do you kind of, as she's 21, you know, you're 39, you're like a bigger brother to her, so do you give her advice like how to, you know, have, because you've been there?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, when I give advice when needed, you know what I mean? One thing about her, she's always gonna be one of those kids who's gonna tell you things like, where you're gonna tell them, don't touch the stove, it's hot, and they're gonna be the first one they got to know on their own. Right. That's how she is, and that's what we're seeing, you know what I mean? But for me, everything I went through is kind of eerie because of how parallel our career has been so far. I started in 2015. I came out the whole run in 9.7. So you know what I mean. So I know what it feels like for her to come out the whole run in 10.7. You know what I mean, and trying to hold on to that and going through a season. So the advice I always give her is I help her make a choice, because you know at that age you don't see that far. You don't see that far ahead of you.
Hell no.
But you just see what's in front of you and what you want. And I say, look, all right, you want this? Well, if you're going to do this, this is going to happen. If you don't do this, then this will happen. Then she says, she thinks, then she's like, you're right. Because she don't want nobody telling her what to do. But I tell her, I give choices that's going to be in front of her.
Yeah.
Well, certain people, you gotta be a matador, right? You can't just go clash. You can't go bull to bull, head to head. You gotta be able to kind of finesse, and you know what I'm saying, the bull's gonna do what it's gonna do. I think with her, she's brought so much to the sport, in a sport that's usually only big because of the Olympics. Like the Olympics, the season was big this year because of the games. She didn't even go to the games, and she had already established with herself, with her personality, what she brings to the sport, the flair, you know, the talks, and even not going to the games, she's still a big name. You know what I'm saying? I always back her. I'll argue with anybody to the death because she's brought something to the sport. She brought eyes to the sport. We can't deny that, yo. And it's something that we needed. It was refreshing.
Yeah, and also she's 21 years old, and as far as I'm concerned, when I remember being 21, and like you just said, she's tough. She's been through a lot. She's got this tough, don't tell, I don't want to be told. You can just see that feistiness. I kind of relate to that side. No one could tell me nothing. I didn't like no one telling me nothing. I'm going to argue with everyone. I'm going to be feisty. I'm going to be opinionated. That's exactly how I was. And the more people tried to like tell me, the worse I'd get until I learned. But that came with age. So people just need to, I think, realize that. But until then, I mean, she's obviously got people around her that have been there, done it. She will take the advice if she wants to, and she's gonna win, but she's gonna lose. She's gonna learn lessons. She's gonna make mistakes, and that's just part of life. But it's just that she's doing it on a big stage in front of everyone. So
yeah, I mean, she's impressed me at the end of the season. You know, where I thought that maybe she would have stayed who she is because all this negativity I was swirling around her, it would have made it worse. She actually turned into the positive and was like, you know what? I need some maturity. And then she started acting on that maturity, and she started listening more. She started saying, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. She started fighting less with people around her in her inner circle and started understanding. So it's just gonna take time, guys. I mean, we're literally watching a young athlete grow in front of our eyes, in front of the world. Yeah. You know what I mean? So,
and you know what? Someone's commented, like, I think Mo is 19, Mondo and Sydney are 21, but there's difference in different people. Like, everyone's different. They're like totally different. They've come from a totally different life. They're different. Yeah. Everyone's different, and this is the thing. But anyway,
people ain't gonna tune in to a track meet just to watch them. People who don't watch track aren't gonna tune into a track meet just to watch them. She's crossed over, yo. She's crossed over, and that's what we need.
I'm gonna tell you when I knew she crossed over. We was in an airport, and I'm not lying to you. 3 soccer moms at different times. Not even them soccer moms didn't even know each other. They just walked up to her and said, "Oh, I like you so much. Oh, I'm for you." Now these women have nothing in common with her. No hair, no nails, no age, nothing. But they like what they saw in her.
And that's in the US?
And that was in the US, yeah.
What?
That was in the US.
That's crazy, because no one, like, you could be walking down there, you could have just won a gold medal. You're walking down the street, no one ain't seeing you in the US. No one don't know you. If you're in Europe, everyone's going to know you. But in the US, no one ain't going to know who you are unless, you know.
Exactly.
We see all the hateful remarks, but she got like 3 million followers, yo. Not everybody hates her, yo. It's obvious the majority of people are into Sha'Carri, yo. So there's a reason to be in there. You know what I remember? When I came and shot Erin's doc, she wasn't even fast yet. She ran fast in college, obviously. She ran 10.7, but she wasn't Sha'Carri yet, you know what I'm saying? And she's a leader. She's a natural leader. She didn't really have the status, but she's still leading and talking shit and clowning people, and she stood out, you know what I'm saying? I remember, I'm trying to find this clip, I can't find it, but she jumped in front of my camera one time. I was like, "Hey, what's up? I'm Sha'Carri. My Instagram is da-da-da-da-da. My Twitter da-da-da." Trying to get her social media out there. It's hilarious now because she's a social media monarch, you know what I'm saying? So she always had it before she started rolling, you know what I'm saying? Some people just have it, and I think that we need to protect that.
Well, what I want to say, talking about docs, what would be the best documentary would be Anson doing a documentary on you, maybe the last year if you do it, or post-career.
Just keep your eyes out. I got something I'm putting together for you to take.
That would be. I feel like everything you've been through, depending on where you're at, everything you've been through, everything you have, whatever people go through in their lives and whatever happens, there's things that can be done where you can then be that voice or be that person who can change. You were already saying it earlier, like you want to be someone who can set things up and set up programs for people and kids, and you know, and I think that you obviously, I think that would be an amazing documentary, and I think a lot of people would watch it. So
been talking to Will about it, and Will, I broke down my vision I have for it, and you know what I'm saying, I would do it right, yo.
We'll see.
We talk, yo. We talk.
Yeah, let's talk for sure. Yeah. that's definitely on top of my list of what I want to do next. So I'm actually in the works of looking for somebody. So yeah, let's talk.
And
I just had a conversation with a meeting 2 days ago, and I got off the phone like, nope.
Let me tell you something. You know what's interesting from listening to Anson and knowing, like, obviously his career, you know, we talk about all these different things. I think you two at different times from juniors, was it World Juniors or something?
No, from NCAAs to the Olympics, to the world record race, to when I was on the broadcasting side, to all the way to Rio. And obviously I mentor some of your training partners with Aaron, you know what I'm saying? So I'm around, and then one of your fierce competitors coming down to the end of your career, Andre, I mentor him. So I always had a front row seat.
From NCAAs all the way through.
So my perspective is, you know, it's from a place of firsthand eyes. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, because to be honest, man, we always have orbit around each other. We've always been in that same kind of, to be able to know, you know what I'm saying? Like, obviously you hit me up, was like, hey, what's on, come and get on the show. And I was like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And we appreciate it. We appreciate it. We love to get the insight from athletes past, present, and this is unique because you literally have done it when we were competing. And you're still doing it now. So you can give us the perspective now, and, you know, obviously we can reminisce. So it's been really good.
The spectrum of experiences for you, man, is crazy. Yo, respect for tuning in.
Thank you. Go to bed, go to sleep. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Definitely.
Yeah. We'll be, and then let us know. Come on again one day, and, you know, maybe next year after you run again.
The next time I come on, like I told you, I'm gonna hold you to it. Once I decide what I'm gonna do, I'll definitely come back on and we'll chop it up. And we also got to talk about what we're gonna do when we do this doc, man, for sure.
Absolutely, man, for sure, yo.
All right, well, enjoy Nairobi, enjoy Africa, enjoy your last few meets, and good luck. Good luck.
I want to see your pictures and videos so y'all
Please
can see
do.
what now.
Yes,
it's gonna be beautiful.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man.
Definitely.
All right, respect, yo. Appreciate it, eh?
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.
All right, cool.
Bye.
Thanks. Well.
Big up the one named Justin Gatlin, man.
Yep.
Respect for tuning in, man. Yeah, it was real cool. I only hollered at him about half an hour ago, 20 minutes ago. And I was like, yo, man, you want to
I think it was a bit more than that.
Well, we were on. I mean, before we got him.
Yeah.
About half an hour before we got him. And he was like, yeah, I'll swing through. But it was cool. He, you know, and it's obviously late over there. I thought he was on the east, so I didn't even know he was going to be up there.
I think it's like 12 now, midnight or something. Yeah. But, yeah, must be like 12:30 because I think he's an hour ahead of London time. It's 11:30 right now. Yeah. But we didn't really even get to go through the...
We still, I mean,
we could just do a quick thing because honestly,
because we're still under. We just got over 2 hours now.
Yeah, we've got like a little 15-20 minutes.
Yeah, let's talk about the meat.
Let's go talk about the meat.
Let's talk about the meat.
It was a good meat.
It was a very good meat.
Do you know what? We've been moaning. Some of them have been like lackluster. You know, it's like, some of them are not. And it should be, but then it's not feeling it. The stadium was buzzing. It was full. I love the contrast of the day one where it's like a town city built up meet where everything was close, mainly field events, to then coming, I think there was 7 finals yesterday and then there was 25 finals tonight. So obviously we're not going to be able to go through every single one of the finals, unfortunately, but there were some amazing performances today. I think we spoke about already a little bit about the 100. We didn't really say, I think Elaine obviously won. She ran 1065.
65, yeah.
1065. But the thing is, she didn't really get out. But then all of a sudden, as soon as she got up, that was it. She just changed gear and left everyone. Yeah. You know what I like? Obviously, Dina Asher Smith.
Yo, she ran wicked, yo.
She ran really good, man. 3 weeks out, man. When was the Olympics? 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, whenever it was. But yeah, she ran 1087, only 4 100ths off her PB.
Serious.
Yeah.
There's actually a clip I want to look at. It's going to debate a little bit, but I'll bring up race take again. He was like, yo, when he saw the list of who's running, he was like, yo, she should run this race in some flats.
Who?
Elaine. Talking about Elaine. She should just run the race in some flats because there's no real threat, right?
Yeah.
What he doesn't know is that Elaine tops it. I want y'all to take a look at this race real quick, okay? And pay attention.
No.
Pay attention to what you see here.
Don't tell me.
Okay.
Don't tell me she's running.
Attention.
No, she did not get out.
You're gonna see Elaine Thompson right now. She's in lane 6. Okay. I mean, the run doesn't look incredibly impressive.
She wins.
10.95.
Yeah.
Into a negative 1.4.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? She barely won. It was a close race.
Yeah.
This is 2017, by the way, in London.
Oh, World Championships.
Yeah. But I want you to look at her feet. Look at her feet.
She was wearing flats.
Look at what is on her feet.
Because she couldn't run in the spikes because of her Achilles or a foot problem that she had.
She was trying to keep a load off her Achilles, and she
Yes.
ran in some flats.
Into a -1.
That is an utter disrespect
That's
to the
a
world
liberty.
of women's track and field,
That's a
but you
liberty.
have to rate it, yo.
You have to
She
give.
ran the 100 in 10.9 into a headwind in some flats.
Jeez.
Yo, that's a race for the ages, yo.
For sure.
That's
for
a
sure.
race for the ages.
So who else? Del Ponte, obviously the Swiss.
Yeah, wow.
Switzerland. Del Ponte. She ran 10.93 PB.
Good season, man.
Yeah, GB.
Made sure to beat-
Daronita.
Made sure to beat Kambunji in that final race. of
But
the
she's
season.
been beating her.
She has, but she made sure. You always want the last one.
Yeah.
You always want
Cambridge
the last
ran
one.
well though.
And at home.
Well, yeah, true,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
You know they were loving that as well.
Yeah,
You know they were loving that. You know
yeah,
they were loving that.
yeah,
You know they were loving
absolutely.
that. So, absolutely. Yeah. So she ran. So Del Ponte ran 10.93, and then Daronita, GB, 10.93, and then
She's gonna be
Kambunji
dangerous.
10.94. Let me tell you this. What's interesting, right?
Dina's days are numbered. In that 100, her days are numbered. I'm calling it from now.
Well,
I don't know if it's going to be next year, but guaranteed going into the next Olympics, Dina's not going to be beating her in the 100 anymore.
you don't think?
I'm calling it from now. You heard it here first, yo. Daronita, is it Nita or Nisha? Nita.
Daronita.
Is definitely going to be beating Dina by the time Paris comes around.
Mm.
I like Dina.
You put it out. No, I do.
I'm just saying the talent level and what I'm seeing right now.
No.
It's like she doesn't even really have total control of her body yet. She seems a little bit cumbersome. Yeah. She seems like she's still kind of getting used to coordinating her height. Once she gets that under control and cleans up the beginning part of the race, she's going to be disgusting. Yeah, she trains down in Florida.
Yeah, Joe. Yes, trains with Andre and Trayvon.
And
she just moved there not too
yeah.
long, right?
And Raina pointed her out to me before I didn't know who she was earlier in the season when I was down there.
She's been really, but she was a good junior. And it's funny because on Twitter I saw John Mulkeen, Statman John. You know we love Statman John. Big up.
Yeah.
He said it wasn't until 2015 that a British woman broke 11 seconds for the 100. So no British woman had ever broken 11 seconds for the 100 until 2015. Tonight in Zurich we had 2 in one race.
Wow.
So Dina 10.87. Obviously, I'm big in subs Great Britain, you know. And then Daronita 10.93. But the funny thing was, he backed up that tweet with another one saying, Dina and Daryl's first race ever was 14 years ago this week. They both went sub 11 on that occasion, albeit over 75 meters. They're only little. They're 25. She's 25, so she must have been. What was that? She's 25. That was 14 years ago. Jeez.
Dang.
So like 11 years old.
11 years old.
Yeah. So anyway,
crazy.
so that was
running
kind
together
of.
since then.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, so that was good. So the women's 100 was good, other than the fact that we were talking about it that Shelly Ann decided not to run.
How do you not run this race?
I don't know.
How? That's so crazy to me, man.
Well, you know.
Big up Elaine, yo, because Elaine
She just ran all of the races.
She took heat at the beginning of the season for not running in those earlier European races, but I think she was making sure that her Achilles was straight. But she ran the entire season. She finished the season strong. Won the Olympics and still ran every single race. And I don't know, maybe she's going to run some of those extra races. I think she should cut her season now, personally. I don't think there's much reason.
Elaine?
Yeah.
I mean, what else is there to do? I didn't even know there was any more meets. Dude, it's like nearly the middle of freaking September. Go and take a break and come back for next year.
There's no meets that are... I mean, Justin obviously got a string of races, but
he's probably getting super paid as well for that. You know that they're paying him. You know he's getting the super paid for that.
Yeah.
So the men's 100... Freddie boy.
Fred is having...
Jesus.
Fred should be on the list for Athlete of the Year.
Well,
he should. He won't win, but he should be on the list.
Well, because he didn't win the Olympics.
He didn't win it. He didn't win anything but the Diamond League final in the 100. But I'm just saying, transitioning from that event into what he is doing right now is unbelievable.
This year, is it this year? Is it this year?
This
Or
year.
is it he's won a diamond league in the 100, 200 and 400.
This year, yeah.
Which is a record. No one's ever done that before.
Oh,
Is
no.
it not
He
in
didn't
a
run
season?
not in the 4 this
Did he
year.
not run
though.
the 4 at all early in the season? I'm sure I heard that he's the
I know
first
he
ever
ran one.
person
I didn't see him
to
win
win
a
a 100, 200 and 400. Let us know. Is anyone still able to let us know?
Yeah, I'll need to cover indoor NCs in January.
Ooh, that might be cool.
I have to say this.
What?
Matthew Bowling.
Oh my God.
No, wait.
Jesus.
Coach Carroll, that was at USC,
Matthew
has
Bowling.
now gone to coach at the University of Georgia. Okay. Seen what she's done with Michael Norman, what she's done with Andre DeGrasse, what she's done with Aaron Brown, and along with plenty of college sprinters in USC. What she's going to do with Matthew, I know you don't like to hear this, but what she does with Matthew. So they want to hear us talk about some indoor stuff. Maybe we will, because
Maybe we'll see.
we'll see what the buzz is like.
We'll see, yeah. We'll see what's going on. We might be itching for it by then to get back out on air and talking about it. But yeah, I don't know. Matthew, yeah. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, you know who I'm looking forward to seeing? Maybe not indoors, but I just really want that guy that Fambule. This guy, I just don't know what is with this raw talent.
Monster.
He reminds me of when I used to see Obadeli when Obadeli was young, and then the way I was like, what is this raw, crazy talent? But this dude is just something, I don't know. But
I never seen no one's top end like
hopefully we don't lose him to like football, like American
I don't think we will.
football.
Yo, he looked like he lost a lot of weight at the Olympics. He looked like
Well, we'll see.
His stride length is longer than Bolt. They measured it.
Really?
Yeah, and he's not
Needs to start,
6'4".
dude. That
His
start is just Lord have mercy.
I roast him about it all the time.
Bowling should move up to the 400. Has a higher calling there than the 100 and 200. All in the game says that. Yeah.
He's not
200, 400.
He's not beating mans like Michael Norman or what was the name of the dude that won the race again today?
What?
In the 400, dove across the line.
Michael Cherry.
Michael Cherry.
That was
not beating him.
Well, I don't. You know what? Michael Cherry's cool,
not beating
but
Karani.
I don't know why.
I can't see Matthew Bowling beating those guys.
Well, Karani, I mean, we'll see, because he's coming back. He's come back this year. He's had some problems, some illness. So we'll see. And obviously, what's his name? Hopefully, if he ever gets injury free again, which is
Van Niekerk.
Yes, Van Niekerk.
Yeah.
It's a different level.
I can't see Bowling beating those guys. But then can we see
But
Bowling
I can't
beating
see
Christian Coleman?
No. Well, I don't
or
know.
even beating Andre or Fred Curley? Curley's doing his thing though.
Yeah. And let's talk about like the 200. Your boy got beat, man.
Yeah, Andre, this is the problem with
He
doubling.
did well in the 100 because he ran 89, which equaled PB. But in the 200, maybe it was too much. I mean, he's the Olympic champion. You do not want to get beat.
Yeah.
More after the Olympics. You know, you always talk about this, but I mean, I'm not as bothered by it. But if you really want to cement your dominance, you just don't want to get beat. And Benerick.
I think it would have been
19.7 ain't slow though.
I think it would be worse to lose to someone that wasn't at the Olympics. I mean, he beat him when it counted. So there's that. But the problem with doubling is that you're going to be tired when the second event comes. You negate that by winning the first event. So if Andre won the 100, he's not losing that too. Because you got the 200 meter bounce. You got the 100 meter swag.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You get that bounce in the 2. But
he
with
nearly
that,
got it in the 2.
He almost got it, but what he
far.
would have... What that little he would have needed, he would have gotten if he won.
Yeah, because what was it? Benerick 1970, and then Andre ran 1972, and he only missed out by like a couple thousandths in the 100 as well. Yeah, I mean he's had a fantastic season. Yeah. Honestly, he's really really done well. I just always think back to those days when we were in lockdown in Canada. And we're talking to him, and this dude is just doing nothing. Like, he's just lying on the couch, and his kids are just climbing all over him, and he's just looking, like, bummed out, like, man, Nia was pregnant at the time. It's just...
Depressed. He didn't know what was going to come next.
He didn't know what was going on.
He didn't know if the Olympics was going to happen.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If you guys haven't seen COVID 2020 yet, please go ahead. And
the documentary on Andre.
The mini doc on Andre during COVID.
Yeah.
It's good perspective of what athletes were going through.
What other events stand out to you?
The 400 stood out to me. With the dive of Michael Cherry. Now when Shania Miller-Uibo did it at the Olympics, I liked it. Right?
But I think he did it by accident today. Michael Cherry, he looked like he was running and he just like tripped. And
today I didn't like it because I think there's a difference between diving across the line and falling across the line. Because the photo finish had him on his knees. He was on a knee. Karani's still running.
He fell though as well.
He fell as well, but after the finish line.
Yeah.
So I didn't like that today. I feel like you need to be on your feet when you cross the line.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So today's dive was questionable because it wasn't really a dive. It was more of a roll across the line.
But you know why? Do you know what it is? And they were talking about this, right? That obviously this is a big thing because if you win the Diamond League final, you get a wild card to the World Championships next year. And where are the World Championships next year? Oregon. Eugene.
That's huge.
So it's in the US, it's on US soil. So I saw some things today and you could see an extra little bit of fire in some of these athletes' eyes from the US because we know, and no one can dispute this, that the US trials are the hardest in the world. In any trials, 100%. for the Worlds or the Olympics. It's like the most depth, the most difficult trials to make. There ain't no it's like first 3 cross the line and we don't care what happens or whatever. Whereas in other countries, like first 2 and then like this discretionary one, you know. But so even in the women's 400, I saw what's her name now? Quinera Hayes. She was running. She's like, nope, I'm not having it. Nope, not having it. Not having it. I'm not letting you pass me. And the other chick, is it Paulina or she was trying. They were going, and she was like, nope, I'm not having it. And she was so happy when she finished because now she don't have to worry about that. And the women's 400, the men's, these are tough races. Yeah. So, and Devon Allen beat Parchment, Olympic champion, in the hurdles. We didn't get to talk to Alan Johnson about that.
I know.
But yeah.
The thing about Devon Allen I've always noticed though is that he competes well in big races. He may not win, but he'll be up there. And there's some races that he will win. He'll sneak out some races because he just competes really well. So they ran in the same time. And the photo finish was tricky because I don't know, it kind of looked to me like Levy won, but obviously not.
No, look.
I mean here, but in the video replay.
I thought I saw Devon Allen win. I thought I thought he came across. But I mean, it was a good race. He's been consistent this year.
Composure wise, he's very good, but you know
Levy came second and Parchment was third.
Yeah.
I thought Parchment okay.
Levy, yeah. You know, one of the things I feel is the reasons why Alan is so composed is because he used to play football. He was actually a very good football player. So he's used to dealing with crowds and being in the spotlight. Football in college is very, very big in the NCAA. So he was known on campus and he's used to being the guy that people are looking at. You know what I'm saying? So he handles those high pressure situations really well, I think, because of that. So what he can do, you're going to get. Now, whether or not he's going to be the best or not, I mean, he hasn't broken 13 yet. So, I mean, he's not as talented as a lot of these guys, but what he can run, you're going to get no matter what when he competes. So I like that about him. Right.
Well, another one of the events that I liked, which was actually yesterday, was the women's high jump. If anyone watched it yesterday, that event was so good. The whole environment, the crowd, everything. And the funny thing is that Lasse Skinner, Skinner, you know,
name
whatever.
Said so many times. I don't know.
Lasse Skinner, I think that's it. Anyway, Mahuchik, she's the 19-year-old. She was jumping on fire, clean card, going. She was passing, she was going all the way up to 203, clean card, right? So Lasse Skinner at 196 had like 2 fails, came back third attempt, but she's still looking like nothing, no emotions. And then it came to 205. Also, McDermott, really nice, clean card all the way up to 201.
McDermott.
What's wrong?
I just heard her
I know her
rituals
whole I know. She's just so like.
I like it. She looks nuts, but I like it.
But she just looks like she's just in the moment. But anyway, clean card all the way up to 201. She clears 201. Lasatskina passes 201 because also Mahuchik cleared 201, so she's like, I need to pass this. She goes to 203, bow, clears it first attempt, but she actually ran and she put her foot down. Right. I was looking at that.
Oh no! I was just
looking at that.
I'm sorry. I was gonna move that other way.
I was just looking at my result. Yeah,
I got a bunch of stuff on the screen.
Yeah, he's got loads of stuff going on. Anyway, the point I wanted to make was this. It was really interesting because it was a great competition. It was actually a better standard than the Olympics. So these girls, like, there was passes going on. There was, like, you know, all this stuff. It was just a great competition. But then at 205, right, Lasatskina decides she's going to go 205. Everyone's getting excited. The crowd's there. And she's like, shh.
Yeah, she always answers the crowd.
She's like, so then I was like, she obviously won the Olympic Games. She jumped 204 to win the Olympic Games. So she cleared the 205. So clearly it helps her. She doesn't want any noise. She doesn't like the crowd getting involved. But it's interesting to me because clearly that would have been beneficial to having no crowd at the Olympics. Wow. Whereas a lot of field eventers, they like the crowd, they get them involved, you know what I mean? That energy, but she doesn't. So maybe that was beneficial to her. But it was interesting because today, the men's high jump, Tembiri, obviously he shared the Olympic gold medal with Bashim at the Olympics. He is the complete opposite. He is all about the crowd. He's all about, like, bringing them in, getting them involved. He makes me laugh. He went and got the Diamond League trophy when he was about to attempt 234. He put it right next to he picks up the Diamond League trophy. He puts it right next to the high jump bed. He's like, he clears it. He starts running around. He then goes into his bag. This man's walking around with his gold medal. This man is walking around. He pulls his gold medal out and goes and starts, like, showing it to the crowd and getting all hyped. I love it. I was like, see, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I like stuff like that. Yeah.
He loved the crowd, whereas she's like, shh, it's interesting. Same event, different personality. But when she did clear the 205, scream, like, total, like, I think that was the actual, does it say on here? Oh, we got the men's one up at the
I can get it back there for you.
No, that's okay. But yeah, it was, I mean, I liked the vibe, the atmosphere, obviously with the jumps and the throws. I think they were doing, like we said earlier, men, women. That gave it a different little bit of a vibe. They decided, though, which
and you like that?
Of course, yeah, it was nice. But they decided to get rid of that final three. I think we spoke about it earlier. Yes. Why go through all of that through every single Diamond League and then in the Diamond League final decide we're not going to do that same format? And
no one likes it.
But why do it for all of the... So you're getting athletes to do that, and then you get them to do that, and then you get them to do that. What are you doing? It was crazy. But yeah, so the women's long jump was pretty good. I think they had... That was yesterday. Yep. But it was all right. It wasn't the greatest, to be honest, but Spanovic won. Pretty good. Her season's best 7 meters, PB 710. So she wasn't too far off. She jumped 696. In the last round. But the funny thing is the men's long jump and the women's long jump were won in the last round. So obviously that final three crap didn't work.
So answer me this. I don't know for sure, and I'm not sure if you know, but I feel like I didn't see any sevens this season.
What?
Outside.
What? Do you know how every single one of the girls...
Yulimar. When I remember,
hers
stood out. But I feel like in all these Diamond Leagues, it was six this,
no,
six
there was,
that.
There was a lot, but there was a lot of 7 meter jumps this year. Maybe not
outside of the Diamond Leagues.
Yeah, outside of the Diamond Leagues.
Okay.
Every single, like, all of these girls jumped, a lot of them had jumped 7 meters. There was quite a lot of 7 meter jumps. Okay. There was a few new people that had jumped 7 meters, and so Dwight coaches, I think her name's Chantel Malone. Mm-hmm. I think she's from one of the Caribbean countries. She jumped like a 7 in the teens, I think, this year. There was a few. There was a few girls that jumped 7 meters. There was quite a lot. That's why, obviously, Brittany jumped 7 meters. There was like so many of them jumped 7 meters this year. But it was just that final 3 crap. People weren't really caring about it.
I really think that got in the way.
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't the natural flow of the build-up.
Right.
Whereas today... yesterday they had only 6 people. Usually have 12. Mm-hmm. So I think they would. It gives less opportunity for people to get into meets if you're only having 6 people compete. But at the same time, the 6 that do compete would definitely prefer to have 6 jumps than that kind of final 3 thing. But anyway.
Speaking of Yulimar,
She smashed it today.
Today, she just looked... After her first jump, I was like, the world record's going again today. It didn't.
Nearly.
You couldn't convince me any different after I saw her first jump. I was like, that's her first jump?
I know.
And she was on the board.
Yeah.
I was like, her first jump, she's on the board like that?
Like 2 millimeters or some craziness. She was like near enough for no jump.
Yeah, it was very, very close.
Yeah, it was close.
It was very, very...
But, yeah, she ended up jumping 15:48. But the funny thing is, like, get up the thing. Look, she jumps 15:48 and number 2 jumps 16:64. She's in a different universe. She's not even in the same place as the rest of these chicks.
Yeah.
15:48. You guys, you have to remember the world record was 15:50 that stood since like 1995 or whatever it was.
And she danced around it all the time.
2 centimeters off of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, she didn't. 15:27 first round, 3 no jumps. 15:22, 15:48. I don't know what she's going to do next year. I do not know. She's going to jump 16 meters.
She will.
Yeah. So.
14.64 for second. It's funny because when I see the other jumpers jumping, it takes away. If you see her jump and watch her jump and enjoy her jump, it takes away from everyone else.
But even when she jumps, it never, like even her first round, she didn't look like, it wasn't like amazingly, she just doesn't look like she's doing much. And then she just goes. She goes. It's crazy. But
talented, yo.
One of the other jumps I wanted to talk about was Pichardo. He smashed it in the triple jump. Last round, he jumped 17.70, but it was crazy. He did his nice balanced jump, nice hop, nice step. The jump phase looked like this guy just was hanging in the air, suspended, like he was defying gravity. He was just there forever. Like, I'm like, what is this guy doing? And then he just went out to 17.70. Lovely jump, very nice. Look, 17.70, bam. Second, Zango, 17.20. At least 3 guys at least got over 17 meters, because it's been a bit, the triple jump this year has been a bit,
Zango just looks
beefy.
He looks like an injury waiting to happen.
I know.
The way he jumps, it just looks very
poundy.
Yes.
Yeah. He's because he's beefy. He's
dramatic.
He's got a lot of like muscle mass, and he's just very raw. But
and the way he hits the ground, I'm like, I'm always watching it. Oh, okay, he's all right. Oh, okay, he's all right. He's just one of those guys. But Will Clay didn't jump that much this year.
No, he didn't. But remember, what no one knew was that he snapped his Achilles last year.
Right.
He snapped his Achilles last year, and so if the Olympics were last year, he would never have been able to go. But he ended up getting to the Olympics. I think he got a medal. I can't remember what colour. Silver, bronze.
I don't remember either.
Yeah, I think he got a medal. But the men's triple jump this year was a little bit like, yeah.
I'm sure Christian was happy about that.
Yeah, well,
to watch the Olympics.
Because he's just snapped his Achilles this year as well. But I think with Rojas, she just outshone. I think the women in general, and I've said this a few times, outshone the men overall in all events. So
Christian Taylor, Achilles. Will Clay, Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
Katarina Johnson-Thompson, Achilles.
Yeah. Are they Nike athletes?
Elaine has one kind of nagging her.
Are they Nike athletes?
Is this a shoe issue?
Well, I don't know, because do you remember back in the day when we were competing, Nike came out with some shoes and some trainers. Remember the Boings? What were they called?
Yeah,
and then everyone was bossing up their Achilles.
I hated those Boings.
Yeah.
I ran my PR in them.
You ran a PR in them?
My personal best in the 100 was in those.
In the trainer, the flats?
No, they had spikes with the Boings on them.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the trainers.
Oh, no, the training in those was, you shouldn't, this is stupid.
No,
but
a lot of people were getting Achilles injuries, and it came down to a lot of athletes that year, those few years.
Yeah.
And it was
they had to find out the hard
Nike.
way.
Yeah. But, who knows? But, was there anything else that you felt like stood out?
No.
It was just overall great competition.
And Boma.
Oh my God!
We spoke about her earlier, though.
We did.
Okay, we spoke about her earlier.
21.77 world junior record or whatever the hell. Yeah, we did. We spoke about it at the beginning. So
Karsten, would have been nice to see him run against Rai, but Rai doesn't like to race Karsten, man.
But Rai shut down the season after the Olympics. Oh, Will Clay 4th. Oh, thank you for letting us know. I thought he came 3rd.
he must be punching the air about that Achilles. I mean, about that
the
Achilles injury.
I'm sure I thought he came like, oh man.
Christian wasn't there. He's always been right behind Christian for years. And finally Christian's out, and then he happened to get an injury too.
Jeez, man.
And the same injury.
That's crazy.
Following him once again.
The other performance, which, do you know what? There was two things that happened today with the commentators that kind of got on my nerves, right? And I think it was Steve Cram was commentating, and it was about the men's 1500 with Ingebrigtsen and Chariot.
Right.
If that's I don't even know how to say his name. But anyway, this got on my nerves, right? Because the bias and the blatant love for like this Ingebrigtsen guy that these guys have. It's like, okay, we know he's white, and we know you're white, and you know you relate to them, and I'm sure you've been sick and tired of like the Africans whooping ass for all these years, right? And you're like, oh my God, and now you're so happy that the Great White Hope has come and like, you know, came and saved the day, right? But the way that they actually like commentated, like Chariot.
We haven't spoken about this, by the way, and I heard it too.
Is it? Did you say
Chariot?
Yeah. He basically is the world champion. Right, so he's the world champion. Obviously, Ingebrigtsen's the limit champion. Right. Chariot's not having it down the home straight. No. He said no. He said no. I'm not having it. Yeah. No. Yeah. And so he's fighting, and then Ingebrigtsen's trying, and then but the way that Steve Cram's like, oh well, you know, if that was Ingebrigtsen in his like real prime, like if he wasn't tired, he would have just taken past him, and the way he was just talking so disrespectful.
And he mentioned that he won the one that counted.
Yeah, oh yeah, he won the one that counted.
As impressive as the. But
like it's so rude.
You know what? I can't remember correctly, but I feel like he kind of cut himself when he said it. Like he kind of caught that he was. Yeah. But it was a little bit kind of like
obvious.
Come on, man! Like
I know we all have our favorites, but we all have our favorites. I keep hitting this mic, sorry. But we all have our favourites, but it's super obvious. And anyway, it was disrespectful. It's super disrespectful the way he disrespected Chariot, the way he spoke. He won, fair and square. This guy did exactly the same thing he did. Right. He's had the same season. Right. Oh, if he was, but he wasn't, so shut up. How about that? But anyway, that pissed me off. Mm-hmm. And then watching the women's 400 hurdles, the way these guys were salivating at the mouth over Femke Bol. He even got Sydney McLaughlin's name wrong, calling her Sonia McLaughlin. How disrespectful is this? He's like, oh yeah, well we know.
I heard when you apologized about that. I didn't hear him actually do it.
We know Sonia McLaughlin and Dalila Muhammad are great, but Femke Bol off those last two hurdles, there's no one better. Well, yeah, there is. Yeah, there is.
Femke Bol over the last hurdle is better than Sydney McLaughlin.
What are you? But the way he was like, oh, and Femke Bol is she? And I'm just like,
or even Dalila Muhammad. Over the last hurdle, Femke Bol is not better than either of them, yo.
How about shush? And you know what? Obviously, Shamir Little, he was just like buoying her off. Oh, yeah, look, and the other guy was like, oh, I think it was Tim Hutchins. Oh, she looks a bit ragged. Look, she's let it all go. Like, okay. But anyway, don't get me started. You know what? Whatever. We know what it is. But
big up the one Femke Bol, by the way.
Oh, yeah, she did. No, but she did good.
I rate her.
She ran 52.70 something.
Yeah, she ran 52. She ran 52.
I like her as an athlete.
Yeah,
I do.
52.80 to end of the season.
Oh, yeah.
This has nothing to do with her in particular.
No.
What the
commentators, man. Like. But they do it all the time. And they mainly do it because their men's are long distance runners. They always do it with the long distance races. Right? And sometimes like with this, it crosses over. Sometimes with that, that kind of race, it kind of crosses over. But they do it all the time. And it's starting to get really annoying. And people say it all the time, but they still can't help themselves.
Yeah. Joel, as you can see, is noticing it, and all in the game as well. Yo, VJ85. I didn't realize until I watched the broadcast back. That's Wadnut.
Oh,
yeah. Wadnut. If you're still in here, I just realized.
No, he said it's late. He said it's late. It's late. He had to go. Long time.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, he said it was late. Where he's like, oh man, it was really late. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's Wadnut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so we've gone over the events that we.
How long have we been going now? Because
we're at about we're at 2:30 now.
Okay, so we're good.
We're about that time.
Yeah, we're good at that time. It's about that time.
This was a great show. We had a lot of great discussions.
We did some great guests.
talked about the whole DSD situation. We had some great guests, past Olympic champions. We had a surprise guest, which we promised in the description, Justin Gatlin. You know what I'm saying? Taking us through his career a little bit, talked some Sha'Carri, and then came back and we discussed the whole track meet, the highlights for us. What a season.
What a season. It's been great. We've done some new stuff.
Yes.
This is our first time doing this. Which we've been saying for weeks, guys, about the podcast, but you know, we've got to feel it. It's got to feel natural. It's got to feel authentic. We've got to be, inspired to do it.
Yes.
And it's just been a bit like, we've been really caught up with these meets and, you know, where every time we've wanted to do like this topic, then it kind of has passed and it's not feeling. So I think we're definitely going to do the last one.
Yes.
For the season.
We're going to sum the season up.
We're going to sum the season up and then, yeah, let's see. It's going to be probably a 2-parter, I think.
Yes. And if there's anything that you guys want to see us discuss in that last podcast, please do. In the
overall season.
Jade's always on the tweets, so your tweets will probably get mentioned in the show if they stand out. And the interaction with the fans is what we want. So going into the final episode, some input as far as what you guys want to hear.
Yeah.
Would be real cool.
Definitely. But it's been great. It's been really good. It's my first ever time doing lives this little period. So
Jade's a very good speaker, very knowledgeable about track and field. I've been trying to just draw her in front of a camera, draw her onto a microphone. She finally has done it.
It's all about timing, people. It's all about time. You got to feel it. You got to feel it.
I feel like she's comfortable now.
I've always been comfortable, but I needed to feel comfortable to do it.
So she's feeling a bit more comfortable now. I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot more Jade Johnson.
We need no pressure, guys. We need a rest from track and field. Return excited and fresh for 2022. Yes, that's exactly. We're gonna.
Don't let Jade hear that.
Yes, please. You guys don't understand. No, we got what? Not a live. We got our podcast.
Yeah, just the podcast.
Just the podcast. Just the podcast. Not another live. This is our last live, people.
Since this was the last big track meet.
It was the last big track meet of the season.
Yes.
So we'll maybe be back next year, or maybe indoors. We'll see. Is it World Indoors this year or what?
What are they going to do about World Indoors?
Let's just.
It was supposed to be.
Let's just see what happens over the next few months once winter hits with this crazy virus that keeps. Who knows? But anyway, hopefully we'll be back next year. Everything will be under control, and we'll have a full stadiums, full competitions. Everyone can travel and do whatever they want to do. And I think, you know what? I have to say big up to all the athletes, all the officials, everyone that made this season happen, because it was difficult and it was tough. You know what? It clearly didn't make a difference in the performances, because we had some absolutely fantastic performances and world records and, some excitement, drama. What else do you need in a year of... And it was the Olympic year. So it was a good year.
So... great season, Jade Johnson.
Thank you, everyone.
Respect to everybody. Respect for the love, respect for the following, respect for sharing, subscribing. Please continue to do so if you haven't already.
And just on the last note, Joel, Twain. Twain? We didn't even say Joel. Joel. No, is it Joel or Joel?
Yeah.
And where are you from? That's what we want to know.
Right.
And so anyway, I'm going to say Joel says, gunshots, he's good. World Indoors this year, or next year, I should say. NCAA Championships, Commonwealth Games, and the World Champs. Yeah, it's a big year. These guys need a rest. I don't know why they're carrying on. I'm resting right now and getting ready.
People to look out for next year, for sure, is...
There's a few.
Sha'Carri's at the top of the list, but...
Christian
Coleman.
He'll be back.
And if it's World Indoors, he's just going to come back with a bang right away.
He's getting ready for that right now. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
He's getting ready for that right now. So it will be a year. Let's see what happens after our little break. I think the track fans need a break as much as the athletes, I think.
I agree.
We've been very immersed in it this year. So, but thanks, everyone.
Respect everybody.
See you again soon.
Yeah, we'll catch up with y'all. Peace.
Bye.